Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei Became Last Mighty Morphin Power Ranger on Earth movie. Before we start, please go support KingCrownedClown for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some mistake in character's gender, but of course Issei is a male. Betrayal by all things supernatural. But they didn't tell us that someone left him a legacy that he would take to the highest level. After a long time, Issei Hyoudou became the first and last ranger, protector of humans and destroyer of the supernatural. The beginning. It's been over 4 years since I left Kwa. I've changed my identity and appearance. You never know if they'll come back and attack me. My family, M2Y friends, my allies, and the loves of my life betrayed me for no reason. The last thing I heard was that I committed a crime. I don't know anything about that. All I know is that they tried to kill me that night. I still remember it like it was yesterday. Flashback. Today I was coming back from the academy alone. Everyone is very strange. Well, whatever. Today I had stopped by to buy some gifts for the girls. Maybe I did something that upset them. Just in case, I apologize. When I got home, I noticed everything was off. I walked into the living room and there were the girls sitting with a strange look directed at me. Hello, are you okay? I asked, somewhat worried. Ha, it's you, Issei, they said without any emotion. Ni Issei, I ask you. Paso algo bucho. What have you been doing these days? Well, I've been busy doing some things. Putting my hands back. Well, I had the gifts for them. Ring boxes? Or we'll see, Issei, they all said as they stood up. Something happened. I didn't finish because Kiba and Xenovia moved quickly against me, holding me. Hey, what's wrong? I saw his intentions and stepped back. As I did so, someone put their hands on my shoulders. I turned around, and behind me were the 4 faction leaders with serious looks. What's wrong with them? Why are they acting like this? I said, unable to believe what was happening. Drake, you know something. But he didn't even answer me. Hey friend, what are you? Pwag. Something went through my shoulder. I looked and said, because Kiba had Ascalon in his hands. Now a senjutsu blow from Kaneko had hit him. I flew out of the house. While my blood was dripping, I crashed out of the house. I tried to get up and summon the gauntlet, but it was useless. Azazel put a bracelet on my hand, preventing me from using Drake's power. Aside from that, he stepped on my face, preventing any movement on my part. Because, I said in tears, they didn't respond. None of them. Valley, Bikwa and Arthur approached me, and they told me, get up you damned one, raising me up with violence. They dragged me to the 4 leaders. They looked at me with hatred. Zerzek spoke and said, for your crimes against all factions, it has been decided to strip him of his sacred weapon, and everything linked to our factions. Welsh Dragon agrees, and the gem appeared and Drake agreed with him, saying that he prefers someone better than me. It's clear. Azazel comes. Hi. And the fallen one approached my hand and used something against me. He placed something and began extracting my power. Everything was taken. I screamed in pain. I begged for mercy. I didn't do anything. Please. But they kicked me in the jaw, almost knocking me out instantly. I lay on the floor as I bled to death. I looked and they were all in front of me, and they said, finally, charging power in his hands saying, you will be punished with death. And everyone, they launched their attacks against me. I looked at the girls and they said, die. I closed my eyes, and murmured, I love them. They read my lips, and they said, we never loved you. Now we found someone better than you. I see, I said, closing my eyes. I will die loving again. And I opened my eyes for a moment, and said goodbye. And all the attacks hit me, creating a huge explosion. Fin flashback. After that I don't remember anything else. I woke up after 6 months in a coma. The doctors told me it was a miracle I survived. He had a sad look. Well, I remembered what they did to me. After a few days in rehab, I was able to move again. He had many scars all over his body. The police arrived and questioned me about what happened to me. I just said I was in a building that exploded, and I don't remember anything else after that. During the nights I have nightmares about everything that happened. I wake up crying. I don't want to go on like this anymore. My family, my friends, everyone turned their backs on me. I have nothing. I cried for days. Then a little over 3 months later I left the hospital. I changed my identity and left there. Now my name is Tommy Oliver. I worked for a while. I saved up enough money. I rented a house. And I decided to study again. It's been 4 years. And a lot has happened. I graduated from university. Besides, I discovered something 2 years ago that makes me have 2 lives today. My heart is still bitter. If I had the chance, I would annihilate all the factions myself, especially them. But I took the oath and I am the new guardian of humanity. Zordon entrusted me with the Morphos to do good, but what I promised was to save humanity. Only them, but not that bunch of traitors. If they get in the way of my fight against evil, they will pay, and I will have my revenge. Zordon has entrusted me with the 5 Morphos. I have been the only one able to master 4 of them. The 5th is still a bit untamable. But I know I will succeed. Today I found out that there have been sightings of some orgs terrorizing Japan. I wiped out an entire troop by myself here in the United States. If the information is correct, everyone will be there. I must do something. I'll have to move to Japan and end up with everyone there. I am the last ranger on Earth. It is my duty. Rangers forever. And the indomitable, the lone wolf. Tommy was boarding the plane to Japan, and the trip would be very long, so he decided to sleep for that period of time. On his left wrist he had the morpho of the 5th Ranger, which he could not use yet. The spirit that resides in the morpho contains Zenaku and the guardian wolf. They both established a connection and wondered if the tenant was suitable to be able to use his power and have Zenaku be his guardian. But then they both decide to connect to his mind to see what he's dreaming about. Because they always saw how he woke up trembling, or even crying. They weren't worried at all, but they were curious. Upon entering his mind, they began to see that he was dreaming. When they looked closer, there was Issei being beaten up by other people. Issei begged for mercy. Wow, those guys are really evil. Now I understand why he never interacts with other humans. It looks like Yuzen. You think, this guy is a lonely guy, and he was betrayed by his comrades. Doesn't it sound familiar to you? Jump. You're right, Wolf, but even so, he must show me the capacity that a loner has. You're right. The other spirits accepted him, and now I can see why. Looking a little further beyond his mind, he seems like a good guy. Maybe I'll come to respect him later on. The best thing is that if I were to meet these guys, I'd smash them myself. Wolves take care of each other. It's time. We have to wake up. You're right, Zen. Hours had passed and the plane arrived. Tommy took his bags and saw his hometown once more. He sighed and said, I swore I'd never come back here. Seeing how some things still haven't changed, he begins to walk, until in the distance he sees a gang of thieves robbing a bank. This one saw everything and said, not on my watch. It's time for Morphing. Taking out the morpher. Is Morphing tame? Dragonzord. Going quickly to the place. While he was leaving, transporting himself towards the place. At the bank. Hey you set the alarm. No, I. Shut up, he said, slamming the gun into his face. Throwing it away, he drew blood. Take everything and kill them, said the one who seemed to be the leader with a mask. All right. While they held the cashier hostage, she cried while being pulled by the hair. Please let me go. I didn't do anything. Shut your damn mouth and slap him. At that moment, a light flooded the place and a voice said, it would be better to leave the hostages out of this. Who's there? Turning to see who it was, the light dissipated and revealed a being in green armor. When people saw what it was, they cried with happiness and said, the Green Ranger. Thank God, the hostages said. Who are you? A clown dressed up trying to play the hero? And everyone laughs. But the being showed no sign of laughing. I'll say it once more. Let go of the girl and you won't get hurt. As he raised his hand and a dagger appeared out of nowhere. Ha! What are you up to? Have you seen how many of us there are? Go away and nothing will happen to you. But Tommy didn't move at any time. That's how things will be. They attack, and 6 men surrounded him. Everyone turned on Tommy. He jumped, moving his foot, hitting 2 of them in the jaw, knocking them out instantly. Damn, the leader said, and they all rushed to attack him, but of the blows sent his way, none struck. He blocked them easily. With 10 seconds he had enough time to have everyone on the ground. The leader had the girl hostage, with guns pointed at her head. We will do this. You get me out of here, and I'll let her go. You heard that, idiot. Bad word. Well, it drives Tommy crazy. He said okay, but put your gun down. If you understood, idiot. I don't like being called that, Tommy said, annoyed. What did you say, idiot? Say that to me again and I'll blow that hand off. And the leader said, idiot. It didn't end because Tommy threw his dagger very quickly and ended up cutting off his hand rough. Tommy walked up to the guy who was crying like a little girl. I told you. Then Tommy gathered all the thieves and tied them up with a rope. At the end, everyone came up to thank him. Thanks, Green Ranger. Thanks to you I will be able to return home to my family. And everyone praises him. Tommy Dice. There's nothing to worry about. As long as I'm here, nothing will happen to them. When the police started to arrive, Tommy said, bye, and he jumped up and left, while watching it fly. But all this was recorded. The police arrived and just asked what happened. But people saw how the flash of light was disappearing. After a while, Tommy arrived at a place a little far from Kwa. power out of transforming this way and said, "There you are." And further ahead there was a small house near the forest. I reached the door. I bent down to pick up a key that was under a stone and I take it. He opened it and said, "How long has this house been abandoned?" And for 1 hour Tommy cleaned the place. That's it. Seeing how some things were still going well, he walked and saw that there were still things of his. What memories! He left his luggage in the main room. He left it, and there was a photo. He saw her and stared. It was a photo where he was with the Gremory and some leaders, all of them hugging Issei. On the back of the photo there was a dedication, which said, "For Issei de Rias, with all my love in the world, I promise to be the best wife in the world. I love you, Rias." And there were several signatures. Issei saw it and said, "How stupid to have believed in them." He took the photo and smashed it, and left it in a jar which he set on fire. He walked to a secret door, opened it, and went downstairs. And there was a command center. He turned on the computer, and it showed the city. This was a good investment, he said as he looked at his little cave to watch over the city. He walked into the living room, and said, "Now that I'm here, I need a job. Tomorrow I will submit my transfer to Kyoto University." Just then an alarm sounded and said, "There's work. It's MORPHIN time." And he leaves from there. Master and Protector. "Okay, I'm here," said Tommy entering the university campus. I walk and arrive at the principal's office. Tommy applied to be the new teacher. The director was amazed by the work Tommy did in the USA. "Is everything all right?" "Of course, Mr. Oliver," the director said. "It has a good reference. The job is his." And he smiled and thanked her. "And when I start tomorrow, I'd like to give you a tour so you can identify with the campus and see its future students." "Okay, director," Tommy said, and he shakes his hand. When they were about to leave, the director tripped and fell. Tommy helped him up, but as he did so, the director's jacket came unbuttoned and his shirt with a certain logo was revealed. Tommy smiled and said, "You are a fan of the Green Ranger." And the sad director just said, "Yes, I've been following his exploits since he came along. For me, he's the best. And thanks to him, humanity has once again begun to believe that miracles are real. He symbolizes humanity." And Tommy smiled and said, "The Green Ranger asks for nothing in return. Humanity brought out the best in him. Well, we've been late. It would be better to show him the campus." "Hi." And they both walked on. The principal showed him the almost complete school. Just then the bell rings, and the students start filing into their classrooms. When Tommy and the director were walking, he noticed the looks the women were giving him, saying he's a new student or something else. And Tommy smiled at those comments, since he was always ignored and now this is still weird for him. In that, among the crowd, Tommy noticed 5 different colored hairs. As he walked along, his smiling gaze changed to a serious one. Well, there were Asia, Xenovia, Irina, Kaneko and Ravel walking. Tommy walked past, but his gaze reflected hatred. This was noticed by Kaneko. Tommy walked over and stared at them. Kaneko looked at him and noticed his gaze. When their gazes met, Tommy looked away and walked on. Kaneko noticed a strange smell and he stopped in the middle of the hall as he watched him. "Something's wrong, Kaneko-chan," the other 4 said. "No, it's nothing." Walking together again. "That guy gives off a rather familiar aura. It would be better to keep an eye on him." As he looked back again, Tommy continued walking with the director. Having seen that group of snakes again, a feeling came over him. He was angry, furious, and raged. He just wanted to get even somehow. At that point some students started saying that a spaceship was flying around Kyoto, and it seemed that some things were terrifying people. The principal quickly began evacuating the students. Tommy vanished without anyone seeing him, and he started walking down the halls. "It's time to mutate." And this one ran away with the Gremorys. "We must inform Rias-sama," the white-haired girl said as they left. Meanwhile in the city, a ship that appeared to be alien was flying around Kyoto. At that someone came down. "The end has come, vile humans. Attack." At that moment several creatures appeared and began to terrorize the humans. People were taken hostage. "Kill them," Golder mentioned. When the Macillas were about to attack, they were attacked by some creatures. "Stop right there." Coming out of a magic circle several people. "Next to Ross, I didn't put a picture." "Now," the Mao ordered, while some helped the civilians, already evacuating some people out of there. The 4 leaders observed the strange being. "Who are you and what are you doing here?" said the leaders. "I am just someone who has come on behalf of my masters to claim this planet as their own." "You give yourself the right to take something that is not yours," Michel said. "Jump." "Relevant," Golder said. "Everyone on guard," the leaders ordered. The Citri and Gremory groups watched each other's backs. Vala and his team on their own, the leaders among them together. "Attack," ordered Golder while more armies of putties arrived. Everyone was on guard, with Tommy. He was 5 minutes away from arriving. Well, he saw some wounded civilians, and he decided to help them. I don't like this at all, leaving some people in the hospital. Thanks, Green Ranger. Finish them off, said a little boy who fainted. Well, he received a big blow to the head, caused by the putties. Tommy got annoyed and said, Dragonzord Battler Mode, changing his helmet, and 2 weapons appeared in his hands. Zenaku and the wolf had a smile. This boy has courage. It's time. You're right. You will be one with him. Understood, said Zen, looking back. Where there were 3 animal spirits, where they nodded their heads in affirmation. Good, said Zen. I'll give them the signal. With the leaders, they all defeated the putties with difficulty, because they used magic attacks, and because of that they spent a lot. Golder said, they have guts to face me, but this will be the end of it. This one at high speed began to attack the 4 leaders where it left them unconscious very easily. Anya-sama, Michael-sama, Odin-sama, Viejo. The remaining 3 groups said, damn, said Vala, taking stock. Oh, what a peculiar being, said Golder, and Vala launched himself to attack him. Golder easily stopped his attack. You can't beat me, kid, hitting Vala with his sword where it broke his armor. He grabbed him by the neck and hit him in the stomach, where he vomited blood. Vala, said his group heading towards him, one more step and I'll kill him. And everyone stopped. That's better. A short moment was taken advantage of by Vala where he hit his face with a kick. Vala fell, and Golder smiled. That was all your strength, because if so you're finished. And out of fear he stepped back. I think I have 10 minutes left. And Golder snapped his fingers. He smiled a little sinisterly. Come, and the 3 groups launched themselves to attack. Time to mutate. Tommy was going full speed. Damned while I saw how the city was a little destroyed. Damn orgs will pay for this. With Golder, he had Vala and Arthur by the head in his hands. Both were bleeding. Children, children, children. They never learn truth. I grab Arthur by the neck and throw him to the ground. And you, what a child. I thought you would do something to me, throwing him to the ground, while putting his foot on his head like this, putting pressure on this, like when Vidal fights versus Spopovich. Vala began to cry from the pain. The Citri and Gremory groups were seriously injured. Damn, said Rias while crying, seeing how her friends were on the ground. We should never have believed that damn demon, Rias said, remembering that day when a being summoned them and showed them evidence where Issei was on Rizvim's side and how he raped women. I should have believed him, he said while crying. Goodbye, Issei. We'll be together soon. While Golder had his foot on Vala's head, something attacked him and sent him flying. Tannen. Some said they could still speak. I saw what happened. Rest. I'll take care of him. Golder stood up and smiled. Wow, that hit was really effective. While bleeding from the lip. You're the second one to hurt me. I hope you are ready for what's coming. Of course, said the former Dragon King. You hurt my friends and I will not forgive you for that. While opting for his giant form. Oh, so you can too. And Golder began to grow. Let's see what you're made of. And both of them launch into attacking each other. Not bad at all, Golder said as they both looked at each other. Unfortunately, you won't be able to beat me. At that, Golder kicks Tannen in the stomach, knocking him back. Taking advantage of Tannen's mishap, Golder grabs him by the head and rises into the sky. Golder squeezed very hard and Tannen screamed in pain. That's it, he's begging for mercy, while laughing, beginning to descend at high speed. This one crashed to the ground. Tannen groaned in pain as it fell on him. Tannen tried to get up but Golder prevented him from moving. Golder took his sword and fitted it into his back. Hagag, Grito Tannen. Golder began to violently hit Tannen in the face. Those who saw this felt helpless. They couldn't do anything to help him. Golder smiled and said, You've bored me now. Starting to get up. Tannen was seen seriously injured. Tannen began to shrink. Golder also shrank and grabbed Tannen's face. I told you, but nobody listens. Now that I have defeated them, I the great Golder claim the land in the name of my masters. As he took his sword and stuck it into Tannen's stomach. This one was beginning to die, and he just babbled someone's name. You've gone crazy. Who is this Issei, said Golder. It doesn't matter who it is, you'll meet him soon. Pulling out his sword from him, about to cut his neck, a flash of light appeared there. Tommy hit Golder in the face at full speed, sending him flying, releasing Tannen, who could only see in a blur. Who are you? Said Tannen. Tommy looked at him with a look of disgust. He walked up to him and kicked him in the side, falling near the leaders who were beginning to get up. As he fell, he fainted. Some who saw the actions of the unknown being just said, Why did you kick him? But this one goes on ignoring them. Golder stood up and said, So a ranger he. We thought we'd eradicated all the guardians years ago, but I see we haven't. Me divertire un rado contigo. Tommy just looked at him and ran at full speed to have a hand-to-hand fight. Despite being in battle mode, he couldn't land a single hit. That's all, Ranger, Rio Golder, and Tommy said. You're wrong, I still have ideas. It's Morphin time. Transforming into a white Ranger Tiger Zord, and both of them start fighting again. Who is that guy? Some said as they stood up. No lose. But I'm thankful you came, Michael said, and Azazel just stared at his morpher. Interesting, said the fallen traitor. Tommy was fighting Golder again. The attacks were effective this time. Tommy pulled out his saber and started running while shooting laser beams at Golder, which he deflected with his sword. Not bad for a single ranger. Don't you have any more allies? And Tommy spoke up and said, No, it's just me. It's better this way. While he throws a kick to the chest of this one, Golder stepped back while holding his hand to his chest. Jojo, I see, you are a lone wolf. I offer you a deal, said Golder. Tommy said, I'm listening. Join us and you'll get what you want. Armies, women, and even better, power, Tommy said. Sounds tempting, and the factions heard this. It can't be. If that guy joins him, it could be the end of everything. With Tommy, although I would like to do it, and I would like to. Unfortunately, I can't. I swore an oath to Zordon. He helped me when I had no one. He gave me a new path, and doing this would be undoing everything I've done. So no thank you? I see, Golder said. So be it, Golder said, moving quickly, where he made many attacks on Tommy, which didn't go well for him. Hag, Tommy said, hurt, and Golder kicked him in the face, sending him flying into the mountains. When he crashed, half of his helmet broke off and part of his face was visible. Tommy stood up a little heavily and said, I'll need more power, wanting to access V2 Tiger Zord mode, but Golder prevented him. They started to fight, but the injuries caused to Tommy prevented him from keeping up. Tommy received several cuts caused by Golder's sword. In a blow that Tommy received, he fell from a great height to where the leaders and clans were watching this, wanting to help him by giving him a hand. Tommy hit the Mao's hand and said, Don't touch me, damn it, and he stood up very heavily. The women approached him and said, Why don't you want help? If we unite, we could make a difference. Tommy turned around and looked at Rias. With a part of his face uncovered, he just said, What good would it do? You couldn't even scratch him. I'll just tell you this. Don't get in my way, Rias Gremory, Tommy said in a certain voice, and this path towards the enemy, leaving everyone behind, with a somewhat terrified face. That voice. Perhaps. Tommy walked and stood in front of Golder. He told him, Stop fighting and join us. Are you fighting for them? Pointing at the factions. This river. And he said, You're wrong. I'm not fighting for that bunch of useless traitors. I fight for them. Pointing to where there were humans listening to what he was saying. I swore to protect them. Humanity has brought out the best in me, and that's why I'll bring out the best in them. Pathetic, said Golder, attacking Tommy, until he left him lying down. The wounds were somewhat serious. Part of his armor cracked. Stop fighting and die already, said Golder. Never. While I'm here, I'll prove that miracles still exist. Rangers forever. And he launched himself to attack him, where he gave a slash that hurt the monster a lot. He got angry and punched him in the face that left him lying down. His helmet broke and his face was seen. Some didn't see it, and others did. Tommy fell. In his subconscious he was on the ground. I'm still weak. But then he heard a melody, which he enjoyed, and walked to its source. As he walked he saw a being. Hello, said the being. Who are you? Tommy said calmly. You are not afraid. And I don't believe you. Anyone who can endure such a beautiful melody only transmits peace, not fear. So I'm not afraid of you. Zen just smiled. I see. What's your name? Zenaku. My name is Tommy Oliver. Lose. How is it that you should wake up? Something outside is waiting for you. Good luck, kid. And this way backwards while playing his melody. Tommy didn't understand, but the dark space began to light up until he woke up. This looked, and Golder laughed with happiness. But Tommy noticed something on his left wrist. He looked and there was the lunar morpho. This shine, and Tommy said, Do you accept me? And this brightness implying that if. Thanks, my friend. Now neither you nor I will be alone. He got up from the ground and everyone looked at him in surprise. And Golder said, Why don't you fall? And Tommy took the morpho and said, I told you, as long as I'm here, no one will suffer. Access. Transforming into the Wolf Ranger, starting a fight again where Tommy gained ground. I'm too lazy to describe the fight. It happened like in the video. Tommy, upon launching his Golder attack, began to fall. But he cowardly launched an attack against the factions, believing that he would save them and thus flee. But when they attacked, Tommy didn't move, and they all took the hit. Before they fell, they saw Tommy slash at Golder. He began to fall, saying, Why didn't you save them? And he grabs him by the neck and says, They're not my priority, they're just a bunch of traitors who would stab you when they turn around. They can die. I wouldn't be the least bit interested. Lifting him up and summoning his saber and cutting Golder in half. as it begins to disappear into particles. Tommy turned around and everyone was seriously injured. I walk up to them and some said why. He raised the Mao by the neck and said, I should kill you but I'm not like you throwing him like Superman versus Batman. I walked and there was Azazel with his spear Dawnfall I think. He took it and said, what a gadget thanks, taking it out of his hands. Wait, Azazel said, grabbing him by the foot. Azazel got angry and kicked him in the jaw, knocking him unconscious. Tommy saw them at his mercy and smiled. Among so many who were there, only one person interested him. I walked and there was Kiba bleeding out with 3 swords. Ascalon, the sacred demon sword and the fusion that Kokobile made, and he said, hello damn, taking the demonic sword. What are you doing? Said Kiba wounded. Nothing, and approached him and whispered, friend, and he buried the sword in his arm. Kiba screamed and fell unconscious while his arm was bleeding out. Why are you doing this? Said Valley, Biqua and Arthur. He walked towards them and a memory came to him in his mind of when those 3 attacked him. I think I'll have fun for now, he said, snapping his fingers. Things of the past. Tommy walked over to where those 3 were lying. Tommy walked up to Biqua and said, hey monkey. He walked over to where his staff, inherited from his grandfather, was, and he mentioned, this must be valuable to you. What are you going to do? Said Biqua. Nothing special. I ask you, have you done anything you're not proud of? And Biqua remained silent. I see, in that case. And Tommy took his own gun from him, and about to hit him a voice was heard. Coward, you dare attack us when we are defenseless, Arthur mentioned. Coward, don't call me that. After all, you are the most powerful faction, being beaten up by an org, and a human beating up that org. Don't call me a coward for showing you how weak you are. I'll ask you something. You want me to attack you instead of him, and not hearing a response from him. Tommy grabbed Biqua and Arthur by the neck. Get up, you bastards, Tommy said, grabbing them with violence. Leave them alone, Kuroka said. Tommy took pity for a moment, and threw them, causing them to crash into some trees. Tommy approached Kuroka, who was bleeding from her forehead. Hello, he said. Why are you doing this? You come here, you help us, and now you attack us because… Jump, that's none of your business. Turning your back on him. Tommy was about to retreat when he was attacked from behind. He turned around and saw Vala standing with magic residue in his hand. So you keep attacking from behind. I'm wondering the same. You attacked my friends, it's only fair. I see. And Tommy disappeared in a flash of light and reappeared leaning behind Vala. In that case, I must answer you in the same way. I made a turn and it disappeared. This way. And Tommy was at the top of the mountain. How did you get there? And before he could move, Tommy was standing in front of him. You were saying something. And Tommy made a jump where he hit Vala, which he couldn't dodge. Tommy was about to attack, but a wall of ice came between him and Vala. He saw that there were 4 armies. The demons led by Grafia, Los Angeles by Gabriel, those who fell for Penemu, and the Asgardians for Thor and Ross. Tommy watching as they formed a formation to protect the wounded leaders and clans. Everyone looked at Tommy for a moment. Attack, said the lead armies. Wait, said a somewhat weak voice. History, said the Mao, being helped by his wife. But he was about to attack them. Mao-sama, said his wife. It doesn't matter. That thing that beat us up could have killed us. If it weren't for the interference, we'd be dead now. But I was going to attack them. Dijalo ACI Grafia. Tommy turned around and said, if they come near my territory or my affairs, I will not hesitate, and I will annihilate them all. Tommy, who still had the Azazel artifact, threw it at them. Who are you? Said the Mao. Jump. You talk a lot, Lucifer, but I'll just say this. I am the last ranger defending humanity. And he started walking in another direction. Power out. And Tommy returned to the White Ranger state. He leaped upwards and was gone in a flash of light. Who is that guy? Some members said. At that the Mao and the others faint. They need to be taken to a safe place. And they all took those who were seriously injured. With Tommy, this one came home. Power out. He started walking a little slowly until he fell in the middle of the room. The wounds caused by the battle were taking their toll on him. Damn, if I had been there longer I wouldn't have told her, fainting at that moment. But that's it, something manifested in the room. You're such a fool, Tommy, someone said, taking him to his room where he treated his wounds. The war begins. Tommy wakes up after being unconscious for more than 12 hours. He checks and sees which part of his body is bandaged. But what the hell? At that the door opens and the being that was in his mind is shown. Zenaku. Daijo, Tommy. I see you're awake, boy. How is it that? How do I get out? Easy. I live in the Lunar Wolf Morpho, and I can get out for a period of time. Here, take this, giving it a special tea, it will help you recover faster. Thank you. And Tommy takes the tea and drinks it. I was surprised by your fight. A single ranger against an org master. I didn't see that coming. I thought I'd have to come save you, but you exceeded my expectations. Ha, Tommy Rio. I thought I wouldn't tell it, but that help was very useful. Seeing the wolf lunar morpho on her left wrist. Thanks, friend. And the morpho lights up. Okay, boy, you're better now. I have to go. Wait, what's up, said Zen. Thanks for the help. There's nothing to be thankful for. If you need anything, I'll be there, said Zenaku, disappearing into particles. Thanks, my friend. And Zenaku said in his mind, friend. The first time someone sees me as a friend and not a monster, and disappears from his sight. But not even Tommy knew that the spirit of Zenaku manifested itself in Tommy. But no one can see it unless they are senjutsu users or sensory magic users. Thanks to that, Tommy receives absolute defense. While Tommy was thinking about what Golder mentioned in their fight. Flashback. After Golder launched the attack on the factions, and Tommy cuts him in half, the babble. It doesn't matter if I die. The war has already begun, and there's no one to stop it, not even you, the last ranger. After that, Tommy tore him to pieces. If that's true, I need help. Remembering that Zordon gave him a device that when activated something incredible would happen. I wonder what it will be. There are things that need to be done while you go back to rest. Meanwhile, 12 hours ago, take them to the doctor, the Mao Queen ordered, and they rushed Kiba, who wouldn't stop bleeding from his arm, and the others were quickly attended to. After a while, the leaders were reviewing images of Golder, whose origin they didn't quite understand. And then comes the so-called Last Ranger, and why he hates them. That guy is powerful. I'll take him out using that armor. Very interesting, watching with interest the moment where it changed from green to white. I have something to do, and Azazel left the place. After a while, I'm sorry, Rias Gremory-sama. I'm sorry to tell you this, but the wound inflicted on his knight's arm was very serious, and to prevent further bleeding, we had to amputate his right arm. After the group found out, they rushed to their partner. Upon entering, they saw Kiba looking at his former arm while crying. They didn't know what to say to him, so they just hugged him and said they would find that bastard to make him pay for the damage caused to their knight. With Vala's group, they had already been cured. When they searched for Vala, the doctors told them he had talked about a humiliating defeat he had suffered and had gone to Dragon territory with the recently cured former Dragon King Tannen to train, to make him pay. So the group left without saying anything. The other three leaders were asking each other questions about that guy. They needed answers. So the Mao ordered to investigate that being called Ranger, and find out what those things were that caused them so many problems. The DXD group went home to rest better and help the knight overcome the trauma he had just experienced. Meanwhile, in another place far away from Earth, so Golder failed. What happened was, showing a recorded video. It can't be done. We'll wipe out all the Rangers. How is it possible that there are still some left? What do we do, sir? The man all right, sir. Sitting on his throne. Soon we'll make this our new home, looking down on Earth from space. The war has begun. The survival of humanity depends on a single person. All the time, Tommy looked at the sky. The ranger was sitting on what appeared to be a building, while watching the full moon. At that, Tommy says, "It's morphin time." Henshin, Transformandos and El Green Ranger. He observed in detail how the city was calm without any detail of violence. Seeing that there was no action today, he descended from the building and detransformed. I walked for a while through the streets, seeing things normally. And then I passed by a place where everything gave rise to the DXD group. Seeing the fountain where he was killed by the fallen angel, he looked at it for a moment and decided to sit down. Tommy didn't feel any sense of anguish or anything for being there. It seems like he had already overcome that. Somehow I was calm. I looked at the moon and said, "Tomorrow marks 7 years since that day," he said while thinking about what happened to him at that moment. A pressure in his heart seemed to hurt him. He thought about that moment and remembered everything. Tommy's mind became clouded and he apparently entered a kind of mental trance where he was taken back to when that moment happened that made him who he is today, a lone wolf. Tommy saw how he was tortured by them. He clenched his hands and that feeling of hatred arose in him, and he just said to himself, "No more. This will never happen again," while he watched himself beg for mercy from everyone. Tommy changed his expression. "No more, no more, no more," Tommy shouted as he took out his saber and cut everyone. They disappeared and only his past self remained watching him while blood dripped from his head. Tommy, seeing his past self get up, he pointed to a place and Tommy looked, walked in that direction and saw a light. When he entered, he had come out of that trance and looked around him, and it seems that something had manipulated his mind and made him see those memories. Tommy walked across the parquet floor and saw in the distance a group of people who were kidnapping people. Tommy looked and they didn't look human. trance, magic residue, memories, etc. It was more than clear. Demons or fallen angels who kidnap people for their own benefit. It's not my city, damn it. It's morphin time. Dragonzord, hurry up. The master is waiting for his new hex slaves. Hail. And they started loading the unconscious women into a van so as not to attract attention. Ready, let's go. When they started the car ready to leave, something didn't let them go. There was someone in front of the car who blocked the vehicle's movement by putting his foot down. Get out of the way, you bastard, said the leader who was driving, but it didn't work. What are you waiting for? Finish him off, he ordered his subordinates, but they only trembled in fear. What's wrong with them? Sir, don't you know who he is? No. He is the one called the Green Ranger, the assassin who almost killed all 3 factions. That's it, he said fearfully, trying to create a distraction. One of them launched a magic attack at Tommy. He cut this one with his dagger. This one got angry. Tommy jumped and hit the windshield where he grabbed the leader by the head and threw him out, throwing him against other cars there. He screamed in pain from the blow caused by the Green Ranger. The others were in shock. Tommy has caused so much fear in the supernatural world that they have classified him as someone superior to a Mao or a cadre. Category level SSS+. If you see him, don't get close. If there's a chance, run away. The reinforcements said that they saw the wounded leaders and Tommy standing up. Tommy, seeing that they were doing nothing, attacked them and left them unconscious. Tommy saw that these women had suffered psychological trauma that left them in a trance from which they might not recover for a while. He clenched his fists because he saw that among those girls were mothers and daughters who had been abused. Damn them, and Tommy left the guys tied up inside. Tommy gathered the women in a circle where he was in the middle and they disappeared from there. 5 minutes later, Tommy arrived at the hospital doors. The doctors went outside to see what was happening, and there was the Green Ranger carrying each one and putting them on a stretcher where they were taken to be treated. What happened here? Said an officer. These women were kidnapped, and the kidnappers. There was no one at the scene. I'll continue investigating the place and find those responsible, Tommy said. He was about to leave when he was stopped by the officer. Something's happening. Edo, thanks. Why? For saving me from those things. I was there that day you took care of that golden being. You're welcome, Tommy said. My son is your fan. I'm sorry. I don't know if I could take a picture with you, said the officer. He smiled and said, Go ahead. Tommy summoned his dagger and saber and gave them to the officer where they both had their picture taken. Thank you, said the officer, and Tommy said you're welcome. If you'll excuse me, I have work to do, and Tommy jumped up and left. And everyone was shouting his name. A little while later, the demons awoke and were in an abandoned warehouse. There's someone there, the demons screamed, but in the distance they heard a sound that was getting closer and closer to them. Who's there? Everyone shouted. But nothing. The light illuminated in one place from where it illuminated the being. I'll ask just once, why did they kidnap those women? But they didn't say anything. Sorry, Zord, and I promised not to kill anyone. But I didn't promise not to hurt them. And he approached and buried his dagger in the hand of one of them, who began to scream. And well, he said this while cracking his fingers. We have all the time in the world. My duty is to them, not to you. Tommy walked up to the, Please stop. That you don't save people. Besides, the motto is not to kill. It's true. My duty is to them. Humans are my priority. But not to your filthy species, I said in a serious tone. I also saw the damage done to those women, so don't ask for mercy for what is about to happen. Consider yourself lucky. Because today I won't be a ranger. I'm not going to stain the suit with your dirty blood, as he says. Power out. And everyone could see his face. Tommy walked up to one of them. He summoned the dagger and stabbed it into his shoulder. Ha! This scream. Please stop. And Tommy went and got some tape and put it on each of their mouths. Except the leader. You want money, power? Just let us go, please. I told you. Who is your leader who ordered you to do that to those women? But this one didn't say anything. In that case. And Tommy took something out of his pocket and placed it in his hand. What are you going to? He didn't finish because he received a strong blow to the face. Please stop. Who is your leader? Speak and there will be no more pain, Tommy said a little more seriously in his tone of voice. If I tell you who it is, I'll turn to ashes. So ashes. Tell me one thing. He's from a noble house, and he has the power to manipulate fire. How do you know? So he's a member of the Phoenix House who kidnaps humans for hex slaves. I know your leader is the ex-heir of the Phoenix Fried Chicken House. Razor Phoenix, he said, changing his smile to a serious one that was scary. How do you know that? I didn't know that, but I figured it out. So it's him. Where is the damn thing? I've already said too much, I won't say anything more. Of course you will after this. Even you'll want to tell me what not to do. Please stop. And Tommy put another boxer on his other hand. Let's start. And Tommy started hitting the leader and his subordinates. Meanwhile, in another part of the world, where have those idiots gone? They should have arrived with my new toys a while ago. I guess I should always do the work. There were several women there who were very hurt, and had a blank stare after being raped day and night without rest by Razor Phoenix, who had a psychopathic look. Damn, I'd better go to them, maybe they're enjoying my merchandise. And he leaves the place, with Tommy. Please, no more, I beg you. Some said that there was a lot of blood running from his head. I told you, I have no mercy for your race. Please, I already told you everything about Razor Phoenix. Let us go, and we promise you'll never see us again. I'm sorry, but your kind has caused a lot of damage, and if I let you go, you will continue to harm humans. And Tommy begins to walk in another direction while he takes a lighter, lights it, and then throws it at the demons. Ha ha ha, the ranger knows that the fire doesn't affect us, said the leader. At that point the lighter started to burn a rope. What the hell? When Tommy came out, something fell on the demons, who started screaming like little girls. Yes, holy water. And now Tommy took out a little ring, lit it, and put it on the ground. He put on a sweatshirt that covered his face and left as a wave of fire engulfed the place. As he walked, he disappeared into the crowd. Razor had found his lackeys, so here they are. When he opened the doors, something exploded and made him fly away. What the hell? And I saw some bodies turning to ash. Damn it. Whoever did it, I'll kill them in the worst possible way. While he was regenerating, the explosion did some damage to him. In space, send him to Earth. Let him find that ranger and kill him. That's clear. You have love. The master wants you to kill him, cause destruction, deaths, or whatever. Just find him and kill him. At your service. It's time to show off to the master. And what better way to do it than by bringing that ranger's head, while a group of super putties followed him. The life of a human. It's been 2 days and things seem to be going better now. After what happened with Golder, Quest City began to recover. They still haven't understood that these beings exist, but they made the effort. Now the streets are as they should be. Some walls are graffitied with images that symbolize the place. Tommy was walking by the place and stopped when he saw a wall where the Green Ranger was portrayed there. Tommy saw people passing by and commenting that he is the symbol of hope that humanity has been looking for. Since he arrived, humanity has changed. Some countries have put war aside and are now working to help each other. That and more, they said. Tommy certainly liked hearing that. Tommy continued his daily walk. After a while he arrived at a cafe where he ordered a light breakfast. He watched the news on a screen attached to the wall, and it said that the crime rate had dropped in the city thanks to the Power Ranger. Among other things, they showed videos of battles he had had since he arrived. Reporters were interviewing local people in the area, and all they were saying was that they wanted to be like the Green Power Ranger. The children had helmets like him and said, "Someday I will be a Power Ranger and protect those who cannot defend themselves." Tommy smiled when he saw that the boy had the self-confidence to say that. The reporter only said, "Who is that man protecting us under that helmet? Did God perhaps send a guardian angel to guide us and keep us away from a path far from war?" Tommy just heard that and was thoughtful. After so much thought, Tommy paid his bill and left. Elsewhere, did God send a guardian angel to guide us away from the war? That reporter said. At that moment, someone who was watching this turned off the monitor. Nonsense, he's not a guardian angel, he's just a dirty traitor who got us when we were weak. Calm down, Rias-sama. Lose Kaneko, but that guy is the one to blame for Kiba losing his arm. Kaneko clenched her fists in anger. Lose makeup, same. But we must not lose our cool. Aside from that, Azazel-sensei mentioned to us that if that subject does not have contact with that thing, he will not be able to access his powers, while showing him the image that Azazel gave them when he saw in detail the Green Ranger transforming. From what Azazel-sensei investigated, this thing makes him transform. Among his theories, it is believed to be something unique. If we have contact with him, we could take that thing away from him, and also Kiba-senpai could get revenge for his arm, said the Nico. We should talk to Azazel and the others. We could plan a strategy and take him by surprise. Hi, and both of them leave from there. In the Kingdom of Dragons, this is not enough, said an albino. With this speed and power, they are not enough. While he remembered how he was humiliated by the Lunar Wolf Ranger. Calm down, Vala. Back then you were weak. These days you have increased your magic and demonic powers for the better. At this point you can give him a fight. You would even beat Kala. Don't even dare mention his name, said Vala. He was a hero, a friend, and a great rival. I'm sorry, said Tannen. Even if he is no longer here, I must be the greatest White Emperor in all of history. And to achieve that I must kill that bastard who dared to humiliate me. Let's keep fighting. And Tannen and Vala continued fighting tirelessly. With Tommy, he had already arrived home. This day was really exhausting. I'm going to take a bath. Tomorrow classes start. According to the director, my class will be first thing in the morning. I needed to sort out my 2 lives. One as a ranger, and the other, 2, like any other person. This is exhausting. I'll need a vacation after the war against the Org Masters is over. It's true, there hasn't been any sign of them. I should be worried if they haven't attacked something they're planning. I should have a strategy. One is in case I ever face one of them. The other would be to not get involved with them. There are still loose ends. While thinking about a certain blonde, if what he said is true, I'll have to ambush him and eliminate him once and for all. While Tommy's gaze changes from serene to serious. So much has happened to this city after being almost murdered. And what would happen to the Hyoudou traitors who abandoned me to my fate? And most of all, that stupid red dragon moron. While his eyes change color and an aura surrounds him without him realizing it. At that, Tommy dives into the tub to stop thinking about it. Inside Tommy's subconscious. And well said the guardian of the lunar morpher. Lose, Zen said while playing that beautiful melody. In the worst case, I will act and take care of the boy. Besides, you have manifested your spirit in the boy, Zen said to the guardian who just laughed. Lose, I like the guy and that evil attitude reminds me of my children. That's why I've given him part of my powers. And don't you pretend. You also gave him part of yours. Jump, said Zen turning around. It reminds me of myself when I was young. That's why it grows stronger day by day. It would be best to be prepared. The war has begun and we don't know if we will win or lose. Remember, it's a ranger versus an army. You're right, old friend. And both continue on with their thing until the day passes quickly. The ambush of the Green Ranger. Today was the beginning of Tommy's first day as a teacher. He was calm because it was not the first time he taught. Well, I had already taught in other places before. Tommy arrived at the university normally in his car. I walk a few meters to get to the place. I climbed the stairs and finally found the room I would teach. Upon arriving, he noticed the principal had arrived earlier with him. He talked to them about a new teacher and telling them to be respectful. Tommy knocked on the door. The principal said, "He will be your new teacher," introducing Tommy Oliver as the new science teacher. "Go ahead, introduce yourself to your new students," said the director. As Tommy entered, he noticed how all eyes were on him. As I walked up to the blackboard, I heard the girls saying, "How handsome he is. He must be married. He's too young to be a teacher," the girls said, and more. Tommy just smiled and said, "My name is Tommy Oliver, but you can call me Professor or whatever you like. I hope we have a good relationship between teacher and student." And before continuing speaking, some fast-paced footsteps arrived at the classroom. Tommy turned around to see what was happening, and what he saw didn't please him. They were Asia, Irina, Xenovia, Kaneko and Ravel, who arrived late. Tommy tried to stay sane. "We're sorry we're late," they said, all 5 of them at once. Tommy continued writing without paying attention to them. He just said with his back turned, "Come in, so it doesn't happen again." And the 5 of them came in a little embarrassed because that had never happened to them before. Kaneko continued staring at Tommy. Something seemed to catch her attention, because the moment she saw him, she noticed how he looked at them. Apart from this, it gave off a somewhat nostalgic smell, or rather essence. It had been a while. Tommy was sitting looking over the essays he left for them to solve. The 4 members of the DXT group continued with their own thing, but the white-haired girl continued watching him without him noticing. When Tommy got up and went out to make a call, Kaneko felt another presence inside Tommy. Unseen, she entered her Nico mode, and what she saw left her speechless. Something was surrounding Tommy, but when I looked closer, I noticed how that thing looks at me. Kaneko was speechless. "What is that?" she said to herself. With Tommy, he was watching, and it seemed like a group of bots were attacking the city and would soon arrive here. Tommy quickly informed the other teachers that he had received the alert from the news. They quickly and in an orderly manner began to evacuate their students. Only Tommy's group remained. He came to his classroom and said to his students, "Kids, I don't want you to get alarmed, but we need to calmly evacuate the building." Some people asked why. Tommy just said, "Keep your composure. But those things are coming from outside the city and will be here in a few minutes." When he said this, everyone panicked. Tommy shouted at them and said, "Be quiet. Instead of being like this, we could evacuate the room." And with great difficulty, they managed to calm down. "Okay," formed 2 lines, one of men and the other of women, and slowly went down the stairs. The Gremory were looking for any opportunity to leave. Just like Tommy, 5 minutes later, Tommy and the students went down to the gym. Everyone was in rows according to their group. When they started to calm the girls who seemed to be in shock, the lights went out and explosions could be heard in the distance. The students covered their ears and the teachers made them cover each other's ears. "It's my chance," Tommy said, walking backwards. The 5 Gremorys also left. "It's time," and so Tommy left. The Gremory took advantage and left to go with their mistress and the others. Tommy walked out of the academy. He went into the woods and said, "It's time. It's Morphin time. Henshin, Dragonzord," and he jumps as he disappears into the sky. Meanwhile, somewhere else, Rias-sama, "It's time. He'll appear soon. We must call the leaders." "Thanks for the info." She's calling her brother right now. "The city is under attack. He will come." "Thanks, Rias. I'll call in the cavalry." In that, he gives him instructions on what is going to happen. "Hi, Oni-sama. Soon that bastard will pay for what he did." With Tommy. This after a few minutes. "I landed in the center of the city. I searched to see who the culprit was, but there was nothing." He continued walking and reached the rocky area of Kwa. "That's weird. The ID told me there was some org activity, but it seems like there's nothing." Tommy walked without seeing any sign of them. What the hell happened? Without realizing it, something hit him in the back, making Tommy fall to his knees. "Hag, what was that?" Seeing that attack hurt his back. And then a magic circle appears in front of him. "Where did the Gremory and Citri clan come from?" "What the hell is going on?" said Zen and the Guardian. "It's an ambush. I can feel more presences of other races surrounding the place, and even more. They are surrounding the boy. We have to intervene," said the wolf. "Stop," said Zen. "Because, don't you see that he's hurt, and he couldn't bear that wound for much longer?" "I know, but let's just wait and see what happens." "Okay, but if it doesn't go as expected, we will act." Seeing how the Zords were roaring in anger at seeing their friend like that. "It's okay," said Zen, with Tommy. "What the hell is going on?" Seeing how Rias speaks. "Hello, Ranger," he said coldly. "Gremory said this one. Attack," said Rias. And the demons, fallen angels as guardians, attacked Tommy at point-blank range. "Damn." He smiled from his helmet. He summoned his dagger/flute and played it, and his lightning shield, and then all the attacks hit him. The demons/angels/fallen and his guardians laughed. "That's it," Rias said, and a circle appeared, from where the 3 mouths Michael, Azazel, and Odin came out. "That's it," they said. "Take his body and artifacts to study it," Azazel said, when the smoke cleared. There was no one there. But what the heck? At that moment a melody was heard from the mountain cliff. Tommy played his melody while sitting. From one moment to the next he stopped playing his melody. Tommy stared at them. At that he screams, "Battler Mode V2," drawing his shadow saber. At that he jumped from the mountain, landing near the leaders and clans. "I hope and be prepared," said Tommy. The armies began to surround Tommy, while the leaders and the 2 clans moved away. Tommy began to play the melody while a shield surrounded him. With his other hand he held his saber. "Ready to fight," Tommy said. "Running to fight?" "Elsewhere. It seems they are fighting." "What will we do?" Vala said. "Tannen. It's not obvious. We'll go. I'll personally take care of him once and for all. Like a dragon, my pride is shattered, and the only way to get it back is to kill that bastard." "What are you saying, old man? Are you here to have some fun?" Vala said, and he said yes, and they both leave. "Elsewhere." "Well, it's time," said a blonde while a fire surrounded him. "This one doesn't know that it's his last day in the world with the Gremorys." Kiba looked at Tommy with anger. He looked at the part where he didn't have an arm. He got angry and summoned 2 swords. He brought one to his mouth and brandished the other with his left hand. "It's now or never," Tommy said while fighting against an army of more than 300 soldiers. Even in trouble, he just laughed. Green Ranger Al Maximo. The entire army of the factions began to look at the Ranger. He began to walk slowly towards them. Some began to sweat, knowing that they might not return home alive. The sun was beginning to set, signaling that the fight would soon begin. Silence filled the place. The sun had finally set. Tommy started running at full speed. "Here it comes," said the leaders behind the army. "Attack," the leaders ordered, and everyone started shouting as if it were a roar of battle. Tommy charged at the army at full speed. He easily dodged the attacks. Tommy started attacking. In that, from the army almost everyone surrounded him. When they launched themselves to attack him, he jumped upwards where, together with his power, and I throw it down. When the power ball hit them, a huge explosion was created, which took half of the army with it, leaving them almost on the verge of death. Tommy started fighting from a distance. Just then, an angel approached with a spear of light, about to strike him in the chest. Tommy reacted and avoided the attack. It hit him in the stomach, knocking the wind out of him. Tommy grabbed him by the neck and said, "You've got guts, kid," about to hit him. Tommy took an attack that sent him flying. Tommy looked and it was Irina. This one said, "Don't underestimate us." At that, Tommy makes a gesture. Irina got upset, and he activated his angel mode and flew to where Tommy was. Irina took out Mimic, the sword that was restored after the war. She started attacking Tommy. He simply dodged them with ease. At this point, she became angry and stopped attacking with her sword and launched into hand-to-hand combat. Tommy was better than the Rias knights in his swordsmanship. It's not for nothing that he trained to the limit. At that moment, Irina sees an opening and tries to get through Tommy, but he just moves and avoids the attack. Irina tried to pull out her sword. Tommy stopped her and Irina said, "Let it go." Tommy took the sword from him and moved at good speed. "Where are you?" this one just said. "Surrender or you'll die." While his dagger was near her neck and his saber was almost at the point of stabbing her in a vital spot, Irina got upset and said, "Do it," thinking that I wouldn't do it. Tommy thought the same thing. Then this one passed very close to the edge of the dagger on her neck, from which Irina felt a sting. She looked and saw how blood came out. "You said," Tommy said, "you will pay for this." "We'll see about that," and Tommy withdraws the dagger and hits him on the back of the head. In that, everyone sees that Irina fell in combat. Michael spread his wings and headed over there. When he arrived, he saw how she was lying down and Tommy standing in front of her. Michelle said, "Coward, what have you done?" throwing an attack towards Tommy, from which he moved quickly. Tommy was a meter away from them. The remaining army stopped trying to fight. It seemed like there was no point in fighting someone who easily took out more than half of them. So each army general ordered a retreat, while those who had fallen in combat were taken away. The Maos, clans and leaders decided to stay. They didn't want to put their subordinates at any further risk. Michael left Irina lying down while he treated her. Tommy kept looking at Michelle. "I won't call them cowards for attacking me from behind, but I will say that this is the lowest they've sunk. After all, that's how they killed a certain Hyoudou Issei," Tommy said through the helmet. They hadn't heard that name in over 5 years, and hearing it caused pain in some, more specifically in women. "They see it. His silence says it all," said Tommy. "You better leave and don't come back here again," the Green Ranger said somewhat seriously. Tommy turned around, turning his back on them, about to leave when someone attacked him. Tommy dodged a sword that was coming straight for him. I looked and it was Kiba with a look that reflected hatred. "I'll kill you," he said, running at full speed. Kiba stopped, said you laughed with tears because just hearing that name upset her along with the others. About to go after him. Tommy kicked him and he stepped back and he took out his Morpho and said, "Tiger Zord." When a new fight was about to break out, something landed in the middle of the place. Tommy flew out because he was almost crushed, and it was better to transport himself somewhere else. I looked and the smoke cleared and there was Tannen in his giant form, and on his head was Vala in his balance. And Tommy saw and there was another red dragon with green eyes that he didn't recognize. "Hello," said Vala. "You're coming for another beating, kid," he just said. "Today will be your end. Now." And Tannen moved his tail trying to squash him. Tommy smiled and said, "Wow, this is a disadvantage for me. I think I'll need help." "Don't you think so, Wild Zords, Tiger Zord, and Dragon Zord?" Tommy in Danger Part 1. Tommy continued watching as the huge dragon wanted to crush him. "Don't run away," said Tannen, giving me a swipe with her tail that sent me flying. If I didn't have the shield, that idiot would have put me in big trouble. Vala grabbed me at a good speed and rose into the air. This one tried to hit him as we were going up, but I managed and got on his back. I grabbed him by the neck trying to subdue him. Thank goodness I'm good at martial arts. I quickly stabbed my dagger into one of its wings, trying to regenerate it. I prevented it by applying more pressure to its neck. We began to descend at high speed. "Kid, you didn't count on things not going your way, or maybe they would," I said while leaving one hand free and hitting his rib. "Hag!" This screamed while vomiting blood. We were about to fall and I just said, "Thanks for the ride, but I'm getting off here." I elbowed him in the head, causing his helmet to crack, causing him to become disoriented. I let go of his neck, and before falling, I pushed off his back and jumped, landing a little far from the dragon, and Vala crashed, and because of the impact, "Damn, that would have hurt me too," I said as I watched Vala crawl, and his armor shatter. That was good, but much more will be needed," Vala said, getting up from the floor, to once again enter Balance Breaker. "Not bad, kid," I said as I summoned my dagger. At that I moved at great speed. The other dragon that accompanied them had thrown a flare of fire towards me. I was able to dodge as I transported myself elsewhere, but I had to move very quickly. Valatainen and that dragon were attacking me simultaneously. I didn't have time to move from one place to another. "Stop moving," said Tannen. With that I got as far away from them as possible. At that, Albion's voice was heard saying, "I see that this new body doesn't suit you, Drake. It's either that or you're already old, said the white dragon. Jump, don't underestimate me, old rival. I'm still rusty. Jump, said the white one. Tommy got angry. So that's Drake, he's bastard. As I returned to my Green Ranger form. You give up, kid, Tannen said. Tommy replied. You're wrong. I see it's 3 against 1, and that's not fair. The fair thing would be to call in the cavalry, Tommy said. The leaders who were paying attention to what Tommy would do made them pay close attention. Tommy jumped towards the mountain. He took out his dagger and played that melody again. Before playing it, he said, Come on, Dragonzord, I need your help. And he began to play his melody. Everyone saw what Tommy did as strange. What will he do? He became a musician, or what? He said, okay. At that moment, from the distance of the sea, the loudest roar they had ever heard was heard. It sounded like the roar of a beast eager for a fight. In the distance, something began to emerge from the sea. It didn't take even a minute for it to emerge from the sea and let out a roar. What's that? They all said they were there to see such a thing. Now, and Tommy jumped and landed on his head like this. Tommy patted his head and said, Thanks for coming, Dragonzord. He nodded his head in affirmation. Everyone looked at that thing with interest. What is that? You know something, Azazel? No. It's the first time I've seen a creature like that. But in the distance someone was terrified of being in front of that monster. What's up, Tannen? You look pale, the Drake trader said as he approached him. That's the oldest dragon, said Tannen. What do you mean? Drake said. It is said that before the dragon gods there was something older than them. It was said that he once faced them, and one said Tannen. While everyone was listening to him. That thing beat the dragon gods, the leader said. Those stories were only told to those who were chosen as dragon kings. I thought they were a myth. But why is she with a human? It was said that they were untamable. What's going on here? While she sees how she is very friendly with Tommy. Okay, Dragonzord. I need you to support me against them. Battle mode. At that the great Dragonzord began to change. Tommy in danger part 2. Dragonzord battler mode. At that the Dragonzord begins to change. The dragon after changing. It gives a loud roar. Tommy, who was still in his head, this one spoke. Do they plan to fight or will they continue to stand there watching like idiots? Tommy said. With the leaders, these said. I don't know what happened in the past for that guy to hate us. But we can't let that thing be on his side. He could wipe us out if he wants. If that, seeing the Dragonzord, really wiped the floor with the gods. I can't imagine what he would do to us. We must fight. Maybe we could make a difference if we all fought together, said the leaders. The leaders stepped forward. The two clans begin to strategize. Sona ordered Saji to immobilize him with Vitra and absorb his energy. She and her queen will fight side by side with Rias and Aquino. Xenovia will attack alongside Kiba. Asia and Ross will support in magic and healing. The rest of the Citri clan will support Saji. In that you hear Tommy. It's Morphin time. Tigerzord. Henshin. Now what will he do? They all said. Tommy still had the flute to command the Dragonzord. At that Tommy takes out Saba and says, We'll need more help. Support me, and this one spoke. Tigerzord, come here, friend, said Tommy, extending his hand upwards. At that moment, a roar is heard from the mountains, and from there came out a huge white tiger. From the mountains the huge tiger ran until he reached where Tommy and the Dragonzord were, being winged next to it. Tommy got off the Dragonzord's head and remained on the ground. They both walked in like that, and Tommy was by their side. While these roared, Tommy looked at the Tigerzord. Saba, take care of that one. To whom said this? To the dragon that flies over the white one there. Looking at Drake. I'll do it. Tigerzord assault mode. And the Tigerzord started running towards Drake. Dragonzord needs your help. And this one roars and starts going against Tannen. And so both swords fight against those two dragons. Well, kid, what else do you have? Don't think you're such a big deal because you have those two monsters. When I'm done with you, I'll take them and make them eat your remains. Meanwhile, I'll watch you beg. Ha! Tommy River. That's so funny, Vala said. You think they would listen to you. They are loyal to those who are truly worthy. And for them to follow you, it would take millennia, Tommy commented while laughing. That's what you think. But in the end I'll be the one who wins, Vala said, taking stock. Come on, kid, and both of them launch into hand-to-hand combat. With the leaders. Good now. And the leaders launched themselves against Tommy, who didn't see when they arrived. Azazel tried to throw his spear at her, the one he used against Kateria. Tommy dodged it and managed to grab it. He threw it at her, and it fell near him. Upon impact, it created an air wave that sent him flying. Odin tried to pierce him with his spear, but when he did, Tommy grabbed it and didn't let him move. Odin struggled to take his spear away from him, but it was impossible. Tommy got fed up and let go. Odin backed off, causing him to fall. Tommy laughed, and Odin was annoyed by such humiliation. He stood up and tried to hit him. Tommy stepped forward and punched him in the stomach, hitting him so hard he knocked the wind out of him. Odin fell while putting pressure on his stomach. He looked up and heard Tommy speaking. "Surrender, old man, or you can die," Tommy said as he put Saba on his neck. "Damn," said Odin. Odin herself, Grito, Ross, Alvar, Aci and Odin. At full speed he left Asia and went towards him to attack him with magic. "Go away, Odin-sama," and he listened and walked away from Tommy. "Now," he said this, and Ross launched an attack on Tommy. "That's it," he said triumphantly. But while I was laughing, Tommy was heard speaking. "You said ice hair?" Ross was surprised to see Tommy behind her. "Damn." He turned around and wanted to cut it, but Tommy disappeared in a flash of light, reappearing near Odin, who was preparing an attack. "I told you to give up. There's no point in fighting with someone who is weaker." Odin stood there speechless. The first time he feels someone is better than him and humiliates him like that. Odin got angry and released more power, making a counterattack against Tommy, he says, very slow, and hit him in the stomach. Odin spat blood and fell near his shoulder. "Why do you attack us? Jump. I didn't ambush them, or maybe you're not even worth it. You're just a senile old man who, despite being strong, no one pays attention to you." And Tommy takes him off and sends him flying with a kick straight to the stomach, causing him to crash into a wall of rocks. Odin-sama and Ross went to help Odin. Then he sees Zerzek, Serafal, Ajuka, Michael and Azazel surrounding him. Tommy takes out his saber and says, "And well, now," shouted the Mao, and everyone made a barrier that contained Tommy. "That's it. Now it's their turn. If we put them under our command, we will gain more ground." Seeing how the Dragon Zord had Tannen by the neck with its tail, and Drake on the ground while the Tiger Zord scratched him with its claws, "We must help them," each leader ordered. "We'll come for you later," said the Mao, and they leave Tommy locked up. "Pathetic," said Tommy, as he sits and watches the Zords beat up Drake and Tannen. "Hey Saba, what's up, kid? Tell the Tiger Zord to tear off that dragon's wings." "Sounds great, let's do it," and Saba shines. While ordering him, Drake tried to cover himself, but the scratches caused by the tiger were so ferocious that he couldn't fight. At that, the tiger takes his wing from Drake, sinking his fangs into it, and begins to shake him. Drake just screams in pain. Tannen, seeing that, tries to get away from the Dragon Zord's grip, but it prevents him. In that, he sees how the Dragon Zord falls to the ground and saw how the leaders had attacked it, causing it to fall to the ground. Tannen flew up to Drake and hit the tiger, causing it to back away and release Drake from the wing. "You're okay." "I am, but my wings will fly." "We'll heal you later. We have to support and defeat him. Who will be more difficult is our ancestors." Watching the Dragon Zord rise and roar, "You'll be able to increase everyone's energy to fight it. Leave it to me." Doing energy boosts. With Tommy, he saw this with a smile. "What are you laughing at?" Tommy heard and saw the Gremory and Citri approaching him. "You realize what situation you're in, and you still laugh." "Jump," said he, ignoring her and looking where the Zords were. At that point, Kiba starts getting closer to Tommy. "Hey, give me that hand." I raised my arm to high-five Kiba, but he just got angry. "How dare you?" said Rias, approaching Tommy, getting close to him. "You attacked my knight. It wasn't enough, and you grabbed his arm. Why are you doing this?" "We didn't do anything to you," said Rias. "I don't have to excuse myself to you, Rias Gremory. There are things in this world that neither you nor they would understand," while crossing his arms. "What do you mean?" Rias said. Needless to say, something flashes from his left hand. "Wild mode," Tommy said as a light illuminated his body. Everyone closed their eyes. As the light faded, they saw that Tommy had changed. What happened to him? At that, Tommy took out his sword and, instantly, the barrier that contained him was destroyed. Rias and the others were alarmed. "Attack," said Rias, before doing anything. Tommy did the same thing again. At that moment, those things attacked them. They fell to the ground and Tommy turned around and said, "They're weak no matter what happens. They'll always be under my shadow." And he went off to where his Zords were fighting with the leaders. The Grimoris and Citrus barely got up. "Hag, that bastard, how dare he!" While Kiba gets up with an angry face. "He'll pay me back," while walking slowly towards Asia so I can cure him first. In the distance there was a strange-shaped being who said, "It continues like this, the weaker you are, the easier it will be for you to make my job." While he and others accompanied him. Tommy in trouble. Identity in danger. Tommy meets a beautiful girl in a cafe, and by chance, Tommy, apart from being an academic, is a poet. He writes a poem, but in the middle of an attack by an org, he leaves the poem unfinished and goes to fight. Where the girl saw Tommy write it, and when she read it, For some reason that poem touched her heart. Then she tries to look for him, but nothing. He stopped going to the cafe. But it turns out that the girl is descended from someone evil and for some reason ends up fighting against him. And so begins a secret romance between a ranger and her. Chapter begins. Preview. After leaving the place, Rias and company were treated by Asia. Kiba, after being cured, left there in search of Tommy. With Issei, he arrived and the Dragon Zord was on the ground. Tommy played the flute and said, "Pi Dragon Zord." His eyes lit up, and then he stood up. "We have to support the Tiger Zord," and see how it was held by Tannen while the others attacked it. And Vala was approaching with this, wanting to do the same as Fenrir. Dragon Zord launches missiles. This quick of its claws threw missiles at them. Everyone seeing that they were heading towards them, they quickly moved away from the place. Unfortunately for Vala, he received one. It didn't explode, but they took it from there. And then it exploded. Kick-ass type. The smoke cleared and Vala began to fall while his armor was shattered and blood was seen spilling. As he fell, he became unconscious. Tommy approached the Tiger Zord. "You did well, buddy." Tommy approaches where Vala is. "I told you they would never be of any use to you. You may see them as your tools, but to me they are my friends and comrades in battle." That last thing he said with a certain voice that was almost recognized by someone who said that voice, turning all over the place. But he only saw Tommy, who was Circus de Vala. That voice came from him. Perhaps he didn't finish saying that last part because he had been pierced by the Dragon Zord very close to his heart. Drake just spat out a lot of blood. Everyone turned around and was horrified to see that Drake had been impaled. Everyone quickly went to help Drake, but in that Tommy kicked Vala and he fell near them. The Dragon Zord picked up Drake and shook him while he was bleeding. Then he threw him. He slammed it, making the place shake a little. Drake spat out blood and started talking, and he just babbled, naming Issei, while looking at Tommy. "In that this Cerro Los Ojos, Tannen, take them out of here. If they die it will be the end. Now." And this one took Drake and Vala. "Damn," Kiba shouted from behind, slashing his back, which was still hurt from the attack he had received from the beginning due to treacherous arguments. "The Hague." Tommy screamed in pain. He turned around and saw Kiba with a smile. "I told you you'd pay." Tommy got angry and grabbed Kiba by the neck. "Now, he's distracted. Let's attack," said the Mal, and the other leaders gathered together and began to load up on power. Meanwhile, in the litanies of the mountain, someone was laughing arrogantly. "That's it. Attack him. He'll soon weaken and I'll take care of him. Soon the master will reward me and give me more power, while flames cover him completely." Returning to his human form, back to the fight, they all gathered their powers and threw everything they had at Tommy. He took the impact and fell to his knees. Kiba got out and with his sword he placed it on his neck and said, "Last words." "Yes, just one." "Say it now and die." "Okay, just saying." Access. And Tommy changed from wild mode Tiger Zord to Wolf Lunar Ranger. Tommy moved away from Kiba at high speed. He tried to keep up with him, but the Lunar Ranger's speed was superior to him. Tommy appeared and reappeared from there. He only humiliated Kiba. "This annoying guy couldn't hit him," Tommy said. "I'm already bored. I thought the fastest knight of the Gremory house could have made the difference, but I see that he didn't." And Tommy turns his back on him, and Kiba says, "What are you doing?" "It's not obvious. I'm leaving. There's no point in fighting with someone who's afraid." And then Kiba sees his hand tremble. "No, I am Rias-sama's knight, and this is humiliating to me and her nobility. I won't give you the pleasure of humiliating me and them." And he launches himself to attack him with everything. Tommy turns around and takes out his gun and assembles it and says, "Cone rifle," and shoots at Kiba. When the energy attacks hit him, they caused extensive damage and severe burns all over his body. He screamed in pain and was rendered unconscious by the attack. Tommy turned around and said, "They never learn." At that moment, the leaders arrive and take Kiba and place him next to Irina and Odin, who are still unconscious. These stand face to face. Tommy spoke first. "I've already proven myself superior to you. You'd better go. I don't want to lose my hands." "What do you think?" said Rias. "Stop laughing," said the Mal. "But Oniai-sama, he's right. We attacked first. But he did the same thing on that occasion too. Lose, he must have his reasons for hating supernatural beings. We better go." And everyone nodded yes. "These are carrying the wounded." "Goodbye, Ranger," said the Mal with a smile. "Jump," said Tommy. Returning to the White Ranger state, Megazords can retreat. And the Dragon Zord and the Tiger Zord roar. The Dragon Zord returned to its form, as he spun and began to walk and sink into the depths of the sea. The Tiger Zord just made a big jump and disappeared into the mountains. Tommy sighed in exhaustion. As they were about to leave, in the distance someone said, "It's time, attack," and a large army began to approach the place. Tommy starts to back away when suddenly something grabs him from behind. He turns around and sees several putties holding him. What's going on? And several more approach and begin to hit him. Hag. The leaders turned around and saw an army surrounding Tommy, and they saw how they started beating him. We should help him, said the Mao. Stop it, Oni-sama. Let him. He deserves it for what he did to us. Or do you remember that a few moments ago he told us not to go near his territory? But we leave him. Zerzek, your sister is right, said Azazel. And Michael says, we have to go or they'll come for us too. And they decide to walk and hide to see what would happen next. With Tommy, he was being held while they beat him. Who is your damn leader? That's supposed to be me, said someone coming out of the shadows while laughing arrogantly. It's you, Tommy said seriously. With the leaders. What's happening here? They all said at once. What does this mean? Said the Mao angrily, seeing seriously. Under that helmet is. Tommy continued to stare at this being with anger. So you became his cursed ally. Ha 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 ha. The being laughed. Do you know me? As he ordered him to be restrained. With the leaders and clans. What is he doing here? I don't know, laugh, but he seems to have betrayed his race. That boy does nothing but cause trouble. It was not enough for him to have killed humans, and the punishment imposed by you. It seems like he's just looking for power. If he's affiliated with those orgs, you have to want something. Whatever it is, he's a demon, and as a demon, and I'm the leader, I have to take charge. Aguara Anisama. He stopped crying. Let him do it. But don't you see that guy is hurt? But we attacked first and look how he is. Seeing how he was held and beaten by Razor Phoenix, we must help. Hi, said the two clans reluctantly. With Tommy, this one received a big blow to the stomach. Pwag, spitting blood from inside the helmet. To be human you have to resist. Seeing how Tommy was on his knees catching his breath, Razor looked at him with superiority. He grabbed him by the neck and said die, while carrying fire in his hands. He dies. He said, this one almost hitting Tommy. At that moment he received an energy attack from the Mao. Razor, what are you doing, and why are you with them? It's not obvious. I'm looking for that ex-brother-in-law. Throwing Tommy on the ground. The groups were close to Razor. Why are you doing this? Ravel said. It's not obvious, little sister. After being banished and the laughingstock of the other clans, and having our parents turn their backs on me, what else was waiting for me? But that doesn't matter anymore. I discovered that if you are powerful, everyone will fear you and you can have the world under your feet. The Phoenix laughed madly. You're not like that. Jump. Enough with the words. Super putties attack. And these were surrounded. Avoid wasting energy. Hi. And everyone is on guard. When the first one was going to attack, he was hit. Everyone turned around and it was Tommy standing there, holding Saba in his hand. His other hand was pressing on his rib. It seems those attacks have left him seriously injured. Your fight against me, not them, Tommy said, trying to run towards Razor. If that's what you want. And Razor began to shine, showing its org form. This one quickly ran towards Tommy and slammed him on the ground while he began to hit his head, to the point where his helmet cracked. Come on, Ranger, is that all it is? Hitting this guy. Everyone saw how he, even with all those wounds caused by them and by the now Phoenix Razor, an ally of the orgs, was still standing. He is certainly a warrior. Come on, get up, said the Phoenix, kicking him in the ribs. Hag, come on, what are you waiting for? You say you know me, but I don't remember you. I don't remember hitting you. Quite the opposite. I beat you in our first battle. What? I have never lost to anyone. I'm sorry. Remember those who have beaten you. Jump. And this one says, the only one who ever humiliated me was that idiot security. Ha ha ha. Rio. Tommy getting up and going full speed against the Phoenix. Tommy was able to cut the Phoenix's chest. Hag, this snorts in pain. Damn, said Razor, stepping back while touching his wound to try to heal it. Since when you became an org, his privileges as a Phoenix were modified. Both his regeneration became power, and now he may be so damaged that he will no longer be able to heal as he used to before. Tommy had a hole in his helmet exposing part of his face. Yuck. And Tommy spat out a good amount of blood. He was so hurt and tired that he couldn't see exactly. Tommy fell to his knees as he put pressure on his injured rib. That guy is so seriously injured that he won't be able to land another blow, Azazel said as he attacked some bots. One after one they fell. We won, they all said, seeing the destroyed bots. They look and see Tommy lying on the ground. I don't like to say this, but if we don't help him, Razor will escape and try to destroy us, said Rias. Lose, Asia, said the Mao. 2. We'll distract him for a few moments, so please heal him. Like the words Mao-sama. Okay friends, let's end this senseless war. And everyone is moving quickly towards Razor. Asia quickly walks toward Tommy, who is on his knees, watching Razor walk toward him, while drawing fire from his hands, ready to throw it at the Ranger. At that the Phoenix didn't see but had been hit by a great blow from Kaneko, sending it crashing against the rocks. Now Asia, Rias ordered, while everyone was going there. Hey Rias ne-sama, this pain is killing me, Tommy said. At that moment, he felt a light invade his body. He looked up and saw Asia healing him. Tommy got angry when he saw that, so with his hand, he got rid of Asia who was healing him. Why are you doing that? Said Asia. Don't you see your wounds? If I don't heal you quickly, it could be fatal for you. Going back to heal him before putting his hands through Tommy, he grabs her hands and barely gets up from the ground. He looks at her and says, I won't let you heal me. I'll fight as I am. It would be demeaning to let you heal me, he said in a cold tone. We didn't do anything to you. I don't know why you hate us so much. I don't understand you. Asia said while crying. Why do you hate demons? Rias heard and saw this from afar. At that point she stopped attacking and started to approach where Asia and the ranger were, with Tommy. Because you hate all races. You say because. Jump. I'll tell you. The demons, angels, fallen ones, dragons and yokais betrayed me. My friends, allies, people I loved. They abused my kindness and stabbed me in the back. I gave everything for some people I loved, only to be betrayed. Anyway, that doesn't matter to me anymore. You're talking to someone who's already cheated death more than 4 times. 5 won't make a difference. Now you understand why I hate everything related to the supernatural. If you dare to get in my way, I won't hesitate and I'll finish you off. Asia, hearing every word of his, only remembered Issei. Everything he said was the same thing that happened to him. It's like they were the same person. In that Tiger Zord, she came out of her trance and saw him walking towards Razor. Stop. If you go there you will die. Tommy turned around and said, I won't die, not again. In a certain voice that shocked Asia. He took off Asia's grip and went to where Razor was. Asia stood for a moment and said, Don't go, please, Issei. Walking towards him, everyone stopped attacking and heard Asia calling Issei that guy. Razor took advantage and created an explosive wave of fire that sent everyone flying from there. You are Issei, Asia said while holding him by the arm. Seeing that he didn't say anything, she only confirmed his answer. Because, he said while crying. Why? Hitting Issei in the chest. In that, it's you. Issei while he had his hand on his chest. Rias said that he was slowly approaching the place. You really are my Issei. That's what Tommy says. I'm not. One side. Throwing to Asia and laughing from there. Hag, Tommy shouted as he received a fire attack from the razor. As the smoke from the attack cleared, Tommy fell unconscious to the ground. As he detransformed. Haha, I won, said Razor walking with a sword in hand. The master will reward me by bringing him the Green Ranger's head. He aimed to stab Tommy with his sword. A light shot out of Tommy. What happened? Looking everywhere. At that moment a sound was heard from the sky. What's that? The being descended and walked towards Tommy. Look at you, kid, how you're left. This guy picks him up and leaves him lying on a tree and says, Let me take care of it now, rest. And it reaches Razor. I don't know who you are, but if you help him that means you're my enemy. Jump. I'll make you eat your words. Zenoku watches a blonde and a redhead look at where Tommy is. He says, Get out of here. And they obeyed and went to help the leaders and the Citri group. Get ready. Rising wave cut and Zen attacked Riser. Hag. That attack made him take a few steps back. Very well, and both of them start fighting. With Tommy, he was in his headspace. This path and saw the Guardian. Hello? I see you're here, boy. Tommy greeting. What am I doing here? You are in your mental state, while outside you are healing. Right now I am giving you some of my power so that you can heal. I must tell you that you have great stamina. Thanks, I think. And why did you bring me here? I've come to warn you. The Emperor will invade the Earth very soon. Until then you must become more powerful. Zenoku and I have been giving you our powers every day. But it's still not enough. Remember that at the worst moment you should use what Zordon gave you. Until that day comes, keep training. Zordon, Zen and I believe in you. Save the planet. We believe in you. It's time to go back. Zen is starting to weaken. Then the Guardian disappears, and Tommy wakes up. Where am I? And see how Zen begins to weaken because he is still a being of energy, and has given part of his powers to Tommy. Okay, it's time. It's Morphin time. Dragonzord power. Kan Zenaku. Alright, it's time to finish you off. While pointing his gun at his neck. Before cutting him, he notices how his energy is running out. Oh crap, I wanted to keep fighting. Go, and Razor tries to escape. Zen hits him and sends him crashing. Tommy jumped and fell next to it. You're better now, said Zen. Thanks, Zen, said Tommy. It's time for the relay. And they both shake hands and Zen returns to Tommy as energy. Something like that. Okay, it's time. And Tommy gets into a pose and fights, while Razor stands up and looks for Zen but only sees Tommy with the leaders. So maybe he is Issei. Hi, both women said. This is already crazy, Saji screams. But look who came, Razor said laughing. You won't be able to do anything while you're hurt. That's what you think. You know what? I'll finish this soon and take your head to the master. And Razor removed something from his arm that made it grow. Very well. What are you going to do? Trying to step on Tommy. Access. Wildzord needs your help. The leaders couldn't believe it. Apart from the dragon and the tiger, this one had more tricks up his sleeve. I'm too lazy to tell the story of the fight. That's how it happened. Tommy in his last attack, this one said. This is for those women. Sticking a sword in her head, instantly decapitating the Phoenix. After annihilating the Phoenix, Tommy got out of the Zord and they separated. Tommy thanked them, and they left. Before leaving, the wolf just looked at him and roared and he left. The leaders and clans approached. Kiba was still unconscious. Only him. Odin and Irina were informed of everything. She got emotional, but it was him. She didn't know what to say to him. They came up to him and said, Issei, it's really you, said the Mao. Tommy looked at them and turned around. They understood that it wasn't him. Tommy returned to Dragonzord form. I looked at him and said, I'm not called Issei anymore with his original voice. I'm now Tommy Oliver. Everyone was shocked. It was him, Issei, said Rias, trying to get closer to him. But Tommy disappeared. Issei, shouted every girl while crying. Meanwhile, in another part of the world. And now what will Master do? He failed with that task. That means that Ranger is powerful and poses a serious threat to us. What will we do? It's time for me to introduce myself to the humans. It will continue. Post credits. Hag. Someone's wails of pain could be heard. Why do they do this to me? Hag. Razor Phoenix, this is purgatory. This is where the souls of those sinners who did evil and shed the blood of the innocent come to. He has been punished with physical and psychological torture for all eternity. While he was giving him his punishment, he was whipped with a whip that had nails. The device tore his skin. He was crying and begging for mercy. But the person who was passing sentence showed him a screen that revealed him murdering and raping innocent girls and women. This makes it clear that this word does not exist here. Another lash, ordered the leader. Razor was crying while he was asking for forgiveness. Sorry, man. Torture for all eternity. Psychological torture eventually drove him to madness. Years later, Razor became a slave to someone who tortured him and starved him. Min 210. This is how Razor was. Special 1. Tommy was leaving after giving his last class. This is tiring, said Tommy. At that moment, a steering wheel fell on the tip of his hand. What this? And he saw and said, coffee grand opening today. Looks good. Looking at the special menu, and Tommy headed towards the place. Upon arrival, he sat at a table outside the cafe. A waitress gave him the menu and he ordered a cup of coffee and a cheesecake. Tommy took his briefcase and took out a notebook. This one started writing. Far away from the cafeteria, a brunette girl began to walk, who was heading towards the cafeteria. She was escorted by 3 people, those who escorted her. As she walked, she passed very close to Tommy and saw that he was writing a poem. She couldn't see it well because if she did, she would look strange seeing someone write. So he sat down at Tommy's table and also ordered a care and a dessert. Tommy looked up because the waitress already had his order. When they looked up, they both looked at each other. The girl smiled at Tommy and, not knowing what to do, he looked down in a sign of pity. The girl just smiled because she liked his reaction. Somehow, having done that, inspiration came to him, and he wrote a poem. The beautiful brunette couldn't stop watching Tommy write. But I also looked at him. Tommy just looked up and saw her looking at him. And of same form, Tommy shrinks, and under the gaze, she just laughed. But for Tommy, despite being a lonely person, it was the first time a girl had put him in that situation. Tommy said to himself, very well, just say hello and see what happens. When Tommy was about to greet her, shouts from the citizens could be heard. Oh damn, watching people run away from an army of bots. People ran and Tommy looked at the girl and said in his mind, oh God, I swear I'll finish them all off, in an annoyed tone. And Tommy left his briefcase and his notes. The girl saw Tommy walk away. She came closer and saw his notebook. And she saw how in his notebook, she had a picture of herself and a half-written poem. And this one said, they say that you only fall in love once in your life. I don't believe it, because today I only looked at you for a second and there ends the poem. The girl just smiled. But that smile disappeared when she realized he was no longer there, and under his gaze. Just then someone arrived at the place. Princess, what are you doing here? Remember your mother told you not to associate with these humans? At that moment, your bodyguards who were protecting you turned into orgs. So let's go, Nadira Ojusama. Hi, seeing Tommy's things. But she decided to keep them in case she saw him again. She would deliver the things to him personally and hear from Tommy's lips how he ends such a beautiful sentence. With Tommy, he was being held by some bots. But out of nowhere they disappeared. But what the heck? Seeing that there was no one there anymore. In that he says, "Oh damn, power out," returning to its base state. 5 minutes later, he arrived and there was no one there. That beautiful girl had already left, and I didn't even get to say hello to her. And he searches and says, "And neither do my things." Seriously, this couldn't be a bad day. At that point, screams are heard 1 kilometer away. Yes, and Sirio, it's morphin time. Tigerzord power. Elsewhere. What did I tell you about not going to the world of those Nadira humans? Sorry, Mom. Making a sad face. It's okay. Don't worry, I just want you to not interact with humans. But why so much hate? It's not hate. I just realized that everyone is the same, ambitious and selfish. They reject us because we are different. That's why I don't want you to go and associate with them. What is that? Seeing that he had a notebook. Come on, give me. And she opens the content and sees a phrase that she liked, and it said, "If someone can change their way of thinking, they can change their destiny." It's a nice phrase, and he gives her back the notebook. "See you, daughter. I have something to do. Run the world." Nadira continued reading the phrases and poems in the notebook, and something in her heart began to beat. And all she remembered was that boy, and that was the trigger for some feeling to be born that very day. Coincidences? I don't think so. Days later. "Oh damn, I'm late for my class," Tommy said as he took a shortcut to get there faster. But then Tommy collided with someone, and he threw all his things. "I'm sorry." "It's okay. It was my fault for not seeing well," said Tommy. At that point the unknown person helps him pick up his things. Tommy accidentally touches his hand and Tommy says sorry as he turns around. The unknown person turned around too. Tommy stared at the same person as he did while they were still holding hands. "Hello again," said the stranger while giving her a smile, and Tommy just felt sorry. Green Ranger. A few days had passed since that encounter, and that same day it was revealed that Issei was the Green Ranger. It was the 6-year anniversary of their betrayal. Besides, that day was Tommy's birthday. After learning about it, it was news that undoubtedly shook the supernatural world. The first to join the search were the Gremory girls. Kiba, knowing that he was Issei, let's say yes, didn't take it well. He had his own demons, so he would find him, beat him up, and bring him back. But he still had to do something before that. He joined the search, but he was alone. As for Drake, he woke up after a few days and the first thing he did was look for the leaders and tell them his identity. But they already knew. Drake said, "I will bring him. I owe it to him. I turned my back on him for no reason. He will once again become the Red Emperor. I will join him once more." And this one left. As for Vala, he didn't take it well. Let's say he's upset and wants a rematch to the death. He doesn't care if he is or was his friend. He will find him again and beat him up and steal his powers to defeat Great Red with the help of the Zords he plans to steal. A few days have passed. Apparently, the university has temporarily suspended its activities for students and teachers, as the organizational activity has shaken the entire university, and to avoid catastrophes, all the schools in the area have been temporarily suspended. Tommy during that time dedicated himself to training and unlocking more of his ranger powers. Today in particular it was nighttime in Rias and her entourage, except for Kiba and Gasper who weren't there. The entourage was given a sort of vacation while they've been under pressure because of Issei. Their families are worried they don't sleep, they don't eat, and if they do sleep they wake up in the middle of the night crying. So they sent them to the mountains, especially where they trained when Issei was there. Rias couldn't sleep, so she left the house and sat in that place where Issei confessed that he loved her for who she was and not for what she had. She was crying while murmuring, "Issei." Then she saw an image where she was hugging Issei. "Issei," he said while looking at the full moon. At that moment a breeze of air reached the place and whipped her red hair. At that Rias adjusted his bangs to see better, since they were obstructing his vision. "I heard you were looking for me." Rias searched for the origin of that voice, until he found her. I looked and there was Tommy sitting, just like when Issei saw her sitting. He was looking at the moon. Tommy had transformed into the Wild White Ranger. "Issei," said Rias, slowly approaching Issei. Inside the house, they heard that. "Go back to sleep, Asia," said Xenovia while holding in a paid dragon plushie in her arms. They didn't hear a male voice, said Kaneko. At that moment they all woke up, and they put on a robe and walked slowly to see what was happening. With laughter, Issei going to hug him, but he stops her just in time. "So, what do you need from me? It worries me to know that your species is searching for me by land, sky, and sea. It makes me nervous. What do you need from me? Rias Gremory. This. He turns his head and looks at the window, and there they were. Akino, Kaneko, Asia, Xenovia, Irina, Rossweisse, Ravel. When they saw that he had discovered them, they quickly got in. This one spoke and said, I know they are there. And the door opened, and they came out. They stood next to Rias, staring at Tommy. Well, said Tommy, Issei, and Rias didn't say anything. I see that being like this makes you uncomfortable. Power out detransforming, that's better. What do you want from me? Issei, we want to tell you exactly what happened that day. Or do you mean that day when those I thought were my friends almost killed me? That day you tell your truth. Rias and others felt a lump in their throats. And, I'm listening to you. Exactly 7 years ago, someone showed us evidence that involved you and Reincarnation making deals, killing clans and raping women. What a stupid thing, Tommy interrupted. Me, I'm allied with that idiot who caused you problems. What stupidity? Continue, said Tommy. A meeting was held and that person showed us images where you killed innocent people. Let us gather together to believe. But he started planting more and more evidence against you. That's when everyone doubted you, and they investigated and found out that a chestnut in red armor was attacking and killing innocent people. That's when everyone thought you were a danger. So you believed the words of a stranger, someone who fought monsters, demons, and even the gods themselves, who died more than once for you. Jump, what a stupid thing. Then he approaches the balcony. Issei, how are you? How I survived their attacks on me? I don't know. I only know that I woke up from a coma that lasted over 6 months. I woke up with scars all over my body. I don't know how I survived. It was a miracle, the doctors said. Those 2 years in rehab were a torment for me. As soon as I woke up from the coma, I couldn't walk and had trouble moving my entire body. I suffered for a long time. Nightmares every night remembering everything they did to me. If that's what you wanted to know, I'd better go, Tommy said, transforming into the White Ranger. Wait, they all said, crying. Please stay, they all said. So that, for someone to incriminate me again and for the same thing to happen again, no thank you. Besides, I'm no longer the Issei you loved and knew. Well, the one you supposedly loved. I've changed, and so have you. I can't go through this again. Besides, I don't love them anymore. And they all started to cry. No, Issei, I love you, said each girl, crying. Then Tommy tells them, besides, that night you mentioned that you met someone better than me and that you didn't love me anymore. Or am I wrong? Issei, said Rias, calling his attention. You've already forgotten that night when you and I made love for the first time, said Rias, shocking everyone. Tommy turns around and says, no, I'll never forget that. That memory will always remain in my heart. Besides, it's too late for us. If I were to return, I'd only see them with hatred. It's better for them to keep the memories they had with Hyoudou, Issei, not me. Be happy and don't get stuck looking for me. You'll only hurt yourselves. Tommy turned around and said, goodbye. And he walked away, while everyone was crying and saying, don't go. Days have passed since that. Tommy had a huge weight lifted off his shoulders. There is no other org activity either. Until today, Tommy got up because the org alert appeared on the map. Where could it be? Marking the point. Good, let's go. It's Morphin time. Dragonzord power, legendary mode, transforming into a new form that unlocked the Green Ranger. Now, and this one left the place. In Kyoto, a giant being was ravaging the place. The yokais defended their inhabitants, but an army arrived with that monster and began to destroy everyone. At that moment, a helicopter could be heard in the distance. Everyone looked up and the cockpit of the big helicopter opened. A being greeted them and spoke to them. Hi, I see you need some help. Green Ranger at your service. Hey, who are you? Said the big monster. I'm the only one who will finish you off. This is how the fight went. Watch the video. While he was fighting, a younger blonde and an older blonde asked who that guy was. But a boy told him that he is a guardian who protects the world from those monsters. Seriously, he said with interest. Okay, it's time to finish, Tommy said, taking out a sword, splitting that monster in half. Everyone was celebrating. Then Tommy got out of the Zord. Everyone approaches him, but he keeps looking at both blondes. Tommy sees that there are no injuries that require help. So he says goodbye and says, see you later, Yasaka and Kunu. Upon hearing that voice they said, Issei. But he got back into the Zord and left Kyoto. Both yokais were in shock. First act org. After Tommy acquired a new form of the Green Ranger, he saved Kyoto from an imminent defeat that would lead to the destruction of every existing being there. Without a doubt, Tommy has shaken the world with his demonstration of power. Everyone is wondering who is behind that helmet. And better yet, why does he do it? No one knows exactly how this being has become a symbol of peace wherever he goes. Tommy has definitely shown something beyond this world. In Kyoto. What the hell is going on, Mao Lucifer? an older blonde said through a magic communicator. I know we should have told him this a long time ago, but we didn't know how to do it. Like no. I find out that the boy I denied my help to when he needed it most is now alive. Now what's next? Lose and we felt it, Yasaka-sama. This is already stressful. Some of my people died from that thing. The council is pressuring me to take drastic measures. I know how you feel. Even here and in other places we go through what you are going through. People keep asking about Hyoudou Issei, the former Red Emperor, and now Green Ranger. What do people call him? This has to be fixed now, said the older blonde. We know, but we need answers. And the only one who knows what's going on is him. And we know very well that after everything we did to him, he will refuse to cooperate with us. He easily wiped the floor with us all. He has certain creatures never seen before that surpass all of us together. No, don't tell me anything here. The best thing would be to meet with you. I think there are many things to discuss. After all, the last meeting was years ago when the awkward silence. It's been a while since the faction meeting. If you're right. Early in the morning we leave for Kwa. Hey Yasaka-sama. See you later, Mao Lucifer. Communications are closed. Yasaka tries not to cry again. He's alive. Elsewhere. Everything is ready, master. Well, tomorrow I will introduce myself as the new ruler of the humans. I will put an end to that ranger and subdue those humans. Well said, master. Elsewhere. Tommy was asleep. That's when he starts dreaming. Tommy's dream. Where am I? And he sees such a huge army of bots surrounding him. Tommy tries to fight, but it's useless. They attacked him. Tommy fell to the ground, very hurt. At that moment, it was almost about to fall. An attack, or rather several attacks, destroyed some bots. Tommy sees something blurry, but he managed to distinguish some colors. Among some there were red, pink, blue, yellow, black, green and others. Tommy said, "Who are you?" The last thing he could see was that someone had given him a hand to get up. End of the dream. Tommy wakes up suddenly. What the heck was that? Watching his hand. What a strange dream I had. It felt so real. After a while, Tommy went outside the house and went into the forest to train. Meanwhile, it's been a while since I came to Kwa. Don't you believe it, Ka-san? Yes. It's been a long time. And these walk and what they see leaves them speechless. They saw Tommy pilot a helicopter in Kyoto on the news, which later became something. After many more where he made an appearance. So much has happened in this world and they didn't even realize it. Look, Mom, it's Issei. I hope we see him soon, don't you think? Hey, yes, he said a little sadly, and they followed the path to meet with some of the leaders. Hey, Kuno, something's wrong. Yes, Mom will talk to some acquaintances. So you will be with the girls for a while. Alright. Hey, Ka-san. A little while later, Yasaka arrived with Kuno at the place. They were received by some escorts who guided them to the center where the other leaders were already waiting. The Mao called someone to take Kuno to the other girls who were still in the house in the mountains. Elsewhere. Send them now, someone ordered. At your service. In that, he summons 3 beings who begin to walk through the streets of Kwa while destroying everything in their path. First Act Org. 2. Kuno was taken to the house of the Gremory house that is in the far reaches of Kwa. And how have the Grafia-sama girls been? Kuno said. To be honest, Kuno-sama, they have been sad for weeks. Why, something happened. Yes, young Issei came a few days ago and told them that he doesn't want to know anything about the supernatural. And he told them not to look for him. Apparently he's getting revenge for what happened 6 years ago. Oh, I understand. So it also includes me and Oka-san, right? I'm sorry to tell you that if Kuno-sama, I understand, as the little kitsune sheds tears. The best thing would be to talk to them. Maybe they'll let off some steam by talking. Thank you for your help, Kuno-sama, and both arrive at the house. Upon entering, for some reason you feel an air of depression. They both walk up the stairs. Grafia hears cries from different bedrooms. This will be difficult, right, Grafia-sama? Yes, I was afraid of this. With the leaders, they showed the small amount of information they had collected from some orgs, as they called themselves, and they showed about different types of bots and their power levels. Any bot could give a middle class a run for its money. One superbot fought on par with a high class, and an org, using Golder as an example, beat up the leaders, the White Dragon, and the former King Tannen, and finally putting Tommy in his different forms, Dragon Zord, Tiger Zord, Wolf Lunar. These 3 ways could defeat him, and finally, these showed the Zords, Dragon Zord, Tiger Zord, Alo's 3 Wild Zords, and Yasaka contributed to the Zord that he saw in Kyoto. There was silence. Everyone had questions. How overnight, Tommy and his allies became extremely powerful beings, the origin of those powers who gave them to him, and how he had the Dragon Tannen spoke of in his power. If those things called orgs say they're coming to invade this world, that puts us all in danger, not just humans, but everyone. But how could we fight them? The only one capable is Issei. And everyone became sad. If they attacked us, we wouldn't be able to fight back, only he could. But we can't just go to him out of nowhere and ask for help like nothing happened. He said it clearly. He doesn't want to know anything about us. Or do you remember when that thing asked him why he didn't help us? Remember his words. That bunch of traitors can die. So what do we do? There's only one way. And that's it. Ask for help from Ophis and Great Red. And everyone thought about it for a while. Already coming to a conclusion, there was an explosion far away from there. They quickly looked for some information and heard that 3 orgs were terrorizing Kwa. They didn't know what to do. 1 was too much. 3 is dangerous. What we do, what we know best. We must fight, said each leader. Contact Valley, Drake, Tannen and the DXD group, said the Mao. I will call Baraquil and Penemu, said Azazel. I'll call Gabriel, said Michael. Some started to worry. On the move. And everyone left. With Tommy, he was in the far reaches of the forest training. While at home there was an org alert. The bad thing is that he had left his 2 morphos there. Elsewhere, there were 3 beings walking calmly while throwing energy, destroying everything in their path. One of them says, "We've been here for over 10 minutes, and no sign of that ranger. The general most likely sent us to the wrong place," said another. "Since we're here, why don't we look for a fight?" "Yes," said the 3 happy ones. The leaders had arrived with their reinforcements. They saw everything destroyed. Help. They heard a family buried in rubble. "We have to help them." "Hi." And some went to his aid. "We need you to cure him, Asia." "Hi," she said with dark circles on her face. At that, everyone heard explosions approaching. "Get ready, everyone." And the leaders took the lead. The others in the back, as support. Then they hear the laughter of these beings. "I can't let them get away with this," said each leader, unleashing their full power. "Hey, did you feel that? And, let's go. Someone wants to fight." And they start jumping for joy. 10 minutes later, with Tommy, he had returned home. When he entered, he went upstairs and took a shower. When he went down to check if anything was wrong, he saw that the monitor said, "Org alert." I looked for who it was and saw 3 of them, destroying the place. That's a long story short. About 10 minutes ago. Damn, I have to hurry. It's Morphin time. Dragon Zord Power Mod Legendary. On the way. And he called the Zord. At that point he got into the Zord and went quickly to the place. With the others. One of them was fighting Tannen in his giant form. Another one was fighting Drake and Valley at the same time. Things weren't going well for those 2, so to speak. The leaders were trying to give battle to the one who seemed to be the leader. "Brothers, I call who was the leader. This isn't fun anymore. Finish them off and then we'll destroy the city." "Hi," they both responded. The giant pierced Tannen in the stomach. He moved away but was grabbed by the neck, suffocating him. Tannen, Drake and Valley shouted. They tried to get away from each other but couldn't. Tannen was beginning to lose consciousness. About to be pierced again, he had received an attack on the back, releasing the dragon. "Who was it?" he shouted angrily. "It was me." A helicopter was heard approaching the scene, power to the max, and Tommy hit the org at high speed, knocking it down instantly. "Brother," shouted the 2 org, leaving their fight aside. Tommy stepped out of the Zord and quickly caught everyone's attention. "Issei," the Gremory shouted with joy. Tommy ignored them and walked to where the 3 orgs were. "Damn you, you hurt our brother. You will pay." And both of them surrounded him. Tommy took out his sword and became alert. At that moment, a ball of energy hit one of them. These turned around and were the leaders and clans. Tommy screamed and said, "Go away. This is my fight, not yours." Drake spoke. "As your partner, I can't let you get hurt no more. Jump. You my partner. How ridiculous." Tommy snorted, ignoring him. The orgs were annoyed by the leader's interference, and both of them moved away from Tommy at high speed and attacked everyone. Tommy saw this, and although he didn't want to admit it, they stalled them for a while before he arrived and helped the civilians. And Tommy moved quickly and prevented them from being killed, preventing an attack directed towards them. These were wounded, and before they were finished off, Tommy intervened, diverting the attack in another direction. They saw it, and Tommy turned his face a little and said, "We're even. Now go." Everyone was grateful and helped each other walk. Drake stared at Tommy and stayed. "You didn't hear," I said long. "I'm sorry, but I won't leave you alone again." "Jump." Pathetic attempt at a dragon. "You just get in my way." And Tommy walked away from there and left Drake with a sad look. "I hope you're ready, Ranger." While the other org gets up and places himself next to his brothers, Tommy smiles and says, "Don't you think 3 versus 1 is unfair?" "Jump. Are you scared?" "Haha, Tommy. In that case I'll need help." And Tommy transforms into the Lunar Wolf Ranger, and this one shouts division. And behind Tommy, 2 beings identical to Tommy form. "Ready, 2, it's Morphin time." And these transform. Getting on Tommy's side, the leaders were left with their mouths open. Issei had split into 3. Now we are even. And the 3 Tommies stand to one side and say at the same time, now. And the 3 of them start fighting. First act org. Point 3. Very well. The 3 Tommies nod. Now. And each of them goes their own way while each org follows. Wow. I didn't know he could split his body, Azazel said, a little surprised and intrigued by the powers that reside in this morpho. Valid, who was hurt, just clenched his fists in anger. Those powers will have to be mine, no matter the cost. The Gremory girls were surprised by the skills he has. With Wolf Lunar, surrender now or you will pay dearly for what you have done. In your dreams, boy. My brothers and I always have a plan B, so give up and come with us. The Master will be delighted to see you. After all, this dimension promises better than the others. What do you mean? Tommy said. Oops, I think I've said too much. Never mind. I'll just tell you that there are more worlds apart from this one. I'll just tell you that you are the first ranger of this world. That's why I caught the Master's attention. It doesn't matter if I'm the first or last ranger. I just know that I'll finish you all off, and especially your master. Haha. You think you can handle him on your own? Not even the other rangers from other worlds could defeat him. What makes you think you can? A hunch. Tommy laughs. At Tommy's house, there was a box shining brightly. 10 minutes later, maximum power, shouted 3 voices. Now, wild mode, Tommy shouted, preparing an attack. Tommy shout battle mode, maximum power. Original Tommy shouts as he gathers all the power in his rifle. Now, and the 3 launched their maximum attack on the orgs. Hag. A loud explosion was heard. He did it, said the Mao. The boy is not doing badly at all, Azazel said. These kids these days. I speak Odin. Thank God, Michael said. Issei-san, Sama, Kun, Chan, Senpai, said each Gremory. He hasn't lost his touch, my friend, said Drake. Presumptuous, said Vala Winged Kiba. I did it while the clone Tommies transform into energy participants and begin to return to the original. Hag. He groaned as he felt the after effects of using that skill. Tommy felt a great pain, causing him to return to his base state. I didn't think it would cost me so much power, Tommy said, on the verge of fainting. You look hurt, Senpai, Kaneko said. We're going to help him. And everyone went there. Are you okay? Said a voice approaching Tommy to shake his hand. He looked, and it was the Mao extending his hand to him. Tommy said, They're going to attack me again like they did 6 years ago. The women lowered their gaze. We don't want to do that. We just want to help. Please stop this nonsense. I know you're friendly with me, just to steal my powers. And Tommy walks away from them. No, Issei, wait. We don't want to do that, Rias said, crying. I told you the last time we saw each other. I don't care what you have to say to me. And Tommy starts to walk away. No, Issei, he didn't mean that, stretching his arm out to reach him. What a touching ranger. But we haven't lost yet. Tommy turned around and it was the 3 orgs standing. How is it that? I told you, there's always a plan B for these occasions. Ready, brothers. Now. And they put their hands together and begin to shine. Elsewhere. Make it big, ordered a being sitting on the throne. As you command, Master. The 3 of them began to join into one body, while lightning struck him and he began to grow bigger. Ha 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 ha. Rio the org. Now. And he launched an attack against Tommy and the others. Ha! They all shouted. Tommy flew out of there. Ha! It's Rhea. They're fine, said each leader lying on the ground with wounds, but nobody answered. Issei, said Rias, walking while bleeding from the head. Issei, where are you? Collapsing right there. At that moment a building was about to fall on him, but someone intervened and saved her. Rias opened her eyes and felt like she was being carried. She just said my Issei before fainting. Jump. Why do I always have to save these idiots? Pulling every leader and clan out of the rubble. The Mao opened his eyes and saw Tommy carrying his sister. Thank you, Issei. Don't thank him before his time, idiot, Tommy said, giving him a right hook in the face, then knocking him out and taking him somewhere else. A few minutes later, Tommy gasped in exhaustion. Then he saw that org destroy the city. Damn, I'm exhausted and I could fall at any moment. It's morphin time. Dragonzord Power Mod Legendary. A fierce storm has struck our. Tommy boarded a Zord and flew in pursuit of the org that was destroying the city. As the Zord rose, it indicated the low power level and warned him that if he fought he risked dying. Tommy didn't care about that and went in search of the org. 5 minutes later, Storm Megazord, and it transformed. Hey you, Tommy shouted. So you're still alive, said the org. Of course, maximum power, and Tommy took out his sword and gathered power in that attack. Tommy threw the attack at him, creating a huge explosion. When said Tommy, at that a voice was heard behind the Zord. Here I am. Tommy turned around and the org had attacked him. To this, https://goo.gl/images/GQBNA. Look for the link. I couldn't upload the GIF, it was too heavy. In the image, this is how Tommy looks. At that moment, the Zord fell with one arm destroyed. Emergency. Critical energy level. Damn, said Tommy with a hurt arm. It's starting to get dark then. Haha, the org was laughing. That's all. While watching Tommy and his Zord on the ground, Tommy managed to get up. People saw this while I was hiding, and the reporters saying, the ranger looks very hurt. He could do it, and everyone hears the blows he was receiving from the org. This will be the end of the Green Ranger, said the reporter. The children just cried as they watched him being attacked. Elsewhere, we can't let him hurt the Green Ranger. He saved my wife and kids, a man in a suit said. President, what do? We must help him. Call the other nations. Let them know we have a plan. We must help him right now. Get everything ready. Yes, sir. We'll bomb that guy, the president said, looking at the photo of his family and the Green Ranger. A bitter victory. Critical levels. Damn, Tommy said as blood dripped from his head. What's up, Ranger? That's all, the org said while attacking Tommy. Elsewhere. Now, launch missiles. Critical levels exiting the Megazord is recommended. Damn. What's up, Ranger? Can't you do it anymore? What are you waiting for? Kill him, brother. If you do it, Callens, I have something better. He instantly approaches the Zord and charges at it, burying his sword in its chest. Elsewhere, it started to rain from the sky. A few drops fell on a certain group. What happened? A redhead said, getting up from the ground. Issei, she shouted while she went out to look for him, but she ran into her group and some of her friends' clan. I'll help them quickly. A little while later, what happened to the city? And everything was destroyed. Where is Hyoudou? But no sign of him. The two clans walked. On the way they found the leaders together while they were wounded. Asia, too, and he comes closer to cure them. Minutes later, hey, what happened? Said each leader, wondering how they were alive. It was Issei. He saved us. I remember that thing attacked us and we all flew away. Rias almost died, but Issei saved her. Then me, and then you all. The last thing I saw was Issei knocking me out and leaving, not before leaving us in a safe place. And everyone understood and was glad to have been helped by him. But there are attacks to be heard about that. We have to go. Let's help Issei, each leader said, and the Gremory just said, resist Issei, with Tommy, now. And Tommy took advantage of the fact that the org was distracted by an attack that was directed towards him. Maximum power. Tommy buried his sword in the org's chest. Hiya, this scream. Tommy grabbed his sword and raised it upwards and managed to cut it in half, killing the org instantly, thanks to the distraction it suffered. The people who were hiding came out and saw the Zord standing. The leaders and clans arrived. They managed to see how Tommy defeated him, and they were just happy. But the worst thing was the following. The Zord began to smoke from inside. Everyone watched this with horror. Issei, shouted each woman going towards him, but a blast wave sent them flying. Not just them, all of them. The Megazord had exploded. When they came out of that commotion, the Megazord was lying on fire. People arrived at the scene with some fire extinguishers and tried to help him, but it was impossible. All signs of life had been extinguished right there. I didn't say. I scream every woman. The Green Ranger had saved what was left of Kwa, but at what cost? The people there banded together and began searching for the Green Ranger. They refused to believe that he died. A few days have passed, and no sign of him. The clans joined in the construction of Kwa. Everyone in Kwa and the world today is wearing a green shirt with the Power Ranger logo in honor of their savior. Everyone put aside their differences and came together. Children mourn the loss of their hero. The Gremory once again locked themselves away. Rias, please open the door. You haven't eaten in days. Daughter, please, go away. I don't want to know about anyone. Go away. But daughter, long, I said. The leaders of each nation took what was left of the Megazord to repair it, and place it as a statue in his honor. It's been 2 weeks since he disappeared. He's done for. His last general finished off that ranger. Excellent. Start the invasion, as you ordered, to be continued. Post-credits. Wait, boy, you still can't walk. Don't worry, man. I can handle this. Do you really think you're going to fight like that? Don't worry. It's no problem for me. It was a miracle we found you alive. Thanks for everything, but I have to go. Alright, take care of yourself. Bye. It's morphin time. Dragonzord power, battler mode. Okay, it's time for battle. I'll be coming for you soon, Zed. I am the Power Ranger. Point 1. Tommy had just arrived home. Hag, he rubbed his rib. His body still hurt from the wounds caused by those 3 orgs in the battle. Tommy arrived at the ground floor of his house and reached the monitor. There it said the time when Lord Zed's army would arrive. Damn. Then he sees a shining box. It was the same one Zordon gave him. What is this? Tommy said. That is a last gift made by Zordon, made for you. Hey Zen and Guardian. How long? Said Tommy in his mental space. Seeing both. We're sorry. But we gave you all our energy in that attack you made on those orgs, and so we had to sleep to recover. But we're better now. All the power has returned to us. Now we can do this, they both said. Make that. Wow, Tommy said as he felt something moving inside him. That's how he felt. His wounds healed. I feel better. Ha! They both laughed when they saw Tommy like that. Tommy, they both said, drawing Tommy's attention. We need you to concentrate all the power of your morphos into that box. Do it, and something incredible will happen. Tommy nodded and raised his hand, and from his hand came 3 types of energies with different colors. The green one in the sign of the Dragon Zord, the white in the sign of the Tiger Zord, and the gray as a sign of the Lunar Wolf. These 3 entered the box. Tommy felt dizzy so much so that he ended up fainting. Zen and the Guardian smiled. The box opened and a light came out that emitted some kind of signal in different parts of each universe. After finishing emitting that signal, the box stopped shining. Something came out of the box and joined Tommy's master morpher. Somewhere in the galaxy. My lord, everything is ready. All right, let's go to the ground. As you command, sir. One more thing. Dime. We will find other places similar to Earth and it seems to connect with many dimensions. I'm sorry. And show me the location. As you ordered. Interesting. Let's go to that one first. That atmosphere suits us better. 2. And the ship began to move from space to move towards that place. A little while later. So, what shall we do? He said. If that boy was able to face them, what do we do? Those things could come here and wipe us out. A silence fell in the room. All of them were super nervous. It would be best if I didn't finish speaking when a huge explosion leveled the place and sent everyone flying. What happened? The minutes passed. Everyone started to get up. What happened? At that moment, a guard with many wounds all over his body speaks. Mao-sama, those things invade the underworld. Wow. And the soldier died after being pierced in the heart by the super bot. No, said the Mao, charging energy of destruction and throwing it at the bot, destroying it instantly. The Mao angrily went out and found himself with a large army of super bots. Come here, and a super red aura covered him. The Mao expelled so much energy that it disintegrated the super bots. The others in the room saw this and began to join the battle. In the sky. Well, brother, what do we do? Said Seraphine. It's the first time I don't know what to do, Gabriel. If father were here, he would know what to do. Explosions are heard outside the room. Michael is the same. A strange ship entered through a portal and began attacking everyone here. Wow, and the room they were in exploded. Grigory, I have it, said a black-haired man with a lock of hair in the front. What do you have? A voluptuous woman said as she entered the room. This, my dear Penemu. He has been researching Issei artifacts for a while. If I get some of his energy I can replicate this, showing the morpher Tommy has. I did it, and he jumps for joy. Penemu is just embarrassed watching their leader dance. In the middle of that, a shot rang out and went through the window and hit Azazel in the chest. Hag, and he spat out a lot of blood. No, Azazel, Penemu shouted when he saw him lying there in agony, with so much anger. I carry a spear and look for the culprit. Upon finding him, however, she threw the spear and it pierced the bot in the head. Azazel, we will heal you soon. Hang in there. And he took Azazel from there while he sees how several ships enter the place. The gap. Great Red was running all over the place with Ophis. At that, an immense energy attack hit both dragons. Ophis slept, and that woke her up. In great anger he turned into a huge dragon. Growled just like Great Red. The crew member of the ship said, fire with everything. Both dragons and the ship attacked each other with everything, and the dimensional gap could feel a great loss. In Asgard, hold on, Odin-sama. We'll take you to Earth, just hold on. Odin looked around and saw everything his ancestors had built now shattered. With Tommy, this one was asleep. He seemed to be dreaming. Inside the dream, who are you? Watching several beings with different colors approach him. You'll soon know. I am the Power Ranger. Point 2. Underworld. Ashes were all that remained of the place. Mao's Samus, we must retreat. They will enter soon. What do we do? Said the soldier. The remaining people were waiting to see what their leader would say, but he didn't know what to do or what to say. Mao-sama, said the soldier again. He reacted and said, let's go to the human world. That seems to be the only place that remains intact. Of the 100% of people in the underworld, now there were about 200 or more alive, 5% alive and the other 95% dead. Everything else was ruthlessly wiped out by the Org army. Flashback 6 years ago. We have gathered the demons of different classes to make an announcement. Hyoudou Issei, or better known as the Security. He betrayed his race and factions by allying himself with Rossweisse. Nobody could believe it, but don't worry. A hero gave us information about this, and we, the leaders, showing it to others. We ended Hyoudou Issei's life, thus showing the video of the supposed Issei destroying everything. When people saw that, they started booing him. The children threw away their Issei dragon dolls. The people went and tore down his statue. The leaders and clans had satisfied smiles. After a few minutes the people returned and the mouse showed them the video of how they had all killed him. Seeing this, everyone started to cheer that they did well. The people Issei protected turned their backs on him. The children he wanted to protect now hated him. The people he died for now consider him a traitor and are happy with his death. Today is the day the traitor died and everyone cheered in happiness. Even heroes fall sometimes, and that's what people like, seeing their hero fail, because in the end they will hate you. Min 130. Fin flashback. Now only ashes remained of his home. The children who betrayed their hero. Now they were asking for forgiveness and saying, Onagai Security, save us. And there they had a Green Ranger doll. Boom. A loud explosion was heard. Get out of there. We came to play. The voice of an org was heard. The children were crying. What do we do? You go. I'll buy you time. The Mao Zerzek Lucifer said. But Mao-sama, you shouldn't do it. That's what I'm the Mao for. Don't waste your time and go. And everyone was grateful for his sacrifice. If you see my sister, tell her I'm sorry for not being able to protect our parents. Just tell her I love her. Now. And everyone leaves. Grafia, malicious, I love you. And these cry. Thank you for your hard work, dear friend. Take care of yourselves, and survive. Hi, they say with tears, and the Mao goes outside. Multiple attacks began to be heard, but then they stopped being heard. The Mao bought time and everyone left crying when they learned that he had been killed. And not only that happened there, Gregory was destroyed. Azazel was taken to the human world along with Penemu, Barakiel, and a few others. Their entire world was destroyed. Michael suffered the death of his sister. She protected him when he was about to die. The psychological damage suffered broke his fighting spirit. He saw the whole sky burning in flames. He and his remaining brothers survived, and they fled to the human world. Asgard was annihilated. Odin, along with Thor and his guard and some Asgardians, went to the human world to take refuge. Lord Zed, mission accomplished. We conquered those worlds. Excellent. You will have your reward, my new general. Thank you, master. It will be a privilege for me to be general. Now, let's go to the land. Hi, the other troops are on their way there. Excellent. I am the Power Ranger. Point 3. What do we do? Grafia-sama said some guards. We must reach the human world. The first thing to do will be to find the other Maos and clans that still reside in the human world. Inform the other leaders, if there are any leaders left, the maid said. And those who listened only thought that if that happened in their world, there was a possibility that it had happened in the other factions. On Earth, residents of the Gremory clan, Rias and company went down to eat. Asia turned on the TV and there was an alert. Reporter, this isn't a drill. Apparently, there have been sightings of craft in Kwa for over 2 hours. The Department of Defense has issued a curfew. They're warning people not to leave their homes. I repeat, don't leave their homes. God bless us. The transmission is cut off. Asia and the others are in shock. What's going on here? They all said uneasily when they saw that they were invading the land. I should contact my brother, but nothing. What's going on? Just then there's a knock on the door. Asia went to open it. What she saw left her speechless. Meanwhile in the underworld, or what's left of it, resist Vala, Tannen said while carrying him. He gathered some dragons that were fleeing from the army of the Org. How the hell did this happen? Said Drake, seeing everything destroyed. We have to go, Tannen suggested while Valis seemed to lose consciousness due to internal bleeding. No, resist Chico. Let's go to the human world. And the dragons joined their claws and left by means of a transport circle. A few hours later, search for Kwa. Tommy was beginning to open his eyes. After a few seconds he got up from the ground and looked around at everything. What happened? At that Tommy sees how Kwa was being invaded by the orgs. He saw and there was a great army. This is crazy. Maybe I could have a chance. And he looked at his morpher on the table and said to himself, I mustn't doubt. Hope never dies. It's morphin time. Dragonzord power on the other side of the world. The army is ready to invade. They're just waiting for confirmation before they can begin mobilizing. They have the authorization to invade right now. At your service. Ha! This world offered more than I thought. Earth and those dimensions are one more step towards my plan. With that at my side, I will be unstoppable, Lord Zed said, sitting on his throne watching his entire army deploy. At that, he felt the Ranger's energy moving. He became uneasy and ordered his generals to find the Ranger. Earth, Rias, and the others were crying. Grafia told them that there is no underworld anymore. There have been no signs of life from the other mouths. The Citri clan was the same. Sona was crying, her friends and family. Everything was dead. At that, Rias stood up and said, I will not let their sacrifice be in vain. I'll fight. Rias Nisima, don't go, said Milikas, crying. But the others supported his idea and joined in. Don't laugh, Grafia said. I'm sorry, but it's my duty. And the two clans left. Grafia, Milikas, and some survivors stayed. Someone help us, said the maid, crying, with Tommy. He was about to reach the city center. At that moment, Tommy was ambushed by a multitude of enemies. What's happening? Tommy tries to defend himself, but they kick him or hit him with their swords. One of them shot Tommy, creating a huge explosion. Tommy flew far away from there. Tommy saw everything very blurry. The army was approaching Tommy, but in that, a shot made many enemies retreat there. They turned around and there was no one there. Tommy's vision was blurred, but then he sees several silhouettes of different colors attacking the superbots. He tried to get up but couldn't. At that moment, Tommy felt someone give him a hand. Tommy agreed and stood up. Thanks. Tommy took off his helmet and saw better that way. He regained light and saw a Red Ranger. Tommy was totally impressed. He rubbed his eyes to see if he was dreaming. The Red Ranger and some of those with him just laughed. Seeing that he wasn't dreaming, Tommy said, What's wrong? First of all, I just have to say that Zordon predicted that something like this would happen, seeing many of the Emperor's ships. Thank goodness the Morphos protected us. I thought Zed killed them. You're wrong, boy. We Power Rangers will never be defeated. Us. You need to improve your vision, kid. Tommy turned his head up and ignore the Megaforce. Think that it is Tommy who is there, and also think that Wes saved Tommy. It's serious. The Red Ranger took off his helmet and said, My name is Wes Collins and we are the Power Rangers Time Force. When Zordon contacted us and warned us that this world was the only one without Rangers, we investigated. Now we see why Zordon entrusted the only Mosfer to someone with a big heart. You say there is no one like me. No, you are unique. Your Morpher is unique just like you. In the other dimensions there is no one like you. I see why I had faith in you. Tommy smiled and said, I saw this in my dream. At that point a large number of bots began to advance. Are you ready, boy? Tommy smiled. He turned around and said yes. All the Rangers walked and said, You will lead us. Tommy smiled and said, It's Morphin time. And the other Rangers followed his words. Each one transformed. Ready, said Tommy. Now. And they all launched themselves against the Org army. A little while later. I see you're continuing a great legacy, Tommy. Keep it up. Thanks for everything. We know you can beat Zed. And first of all, everyone here wants to give you something. Ready. And all the Rangers raised their hands. Now. And a light came out from all the Rangers. Tommy closed his eyes because of the impact of the light. When he opened them, he asked what they had done. Wes and the others smiled. You'll find out soon enough. Our spirits are with you in the battle, Tommy, continued the Ranger's legacy. Tommy smiled. The others raised their hands and shouted, Rangers forever, and scattered into a great light, which soon disappeared. Tommy smiled and continued on his way. Elsewhere, hand over the Ranger, and no one will get hurt, a robotic-like woman said. People were surrounded by bots. If you do, we will be merciful to you, said the woman. Elsewhere, I'm sorry, but patient Vala didn't arrive on time and died in the middle of the operation. I'm sorry, Mr. Tannen. Tannen disguised himself as a human. He started to cry. Sorry, kid. I couldn't protect you either. Resist, Azazel, Penemu said while taking his hand. Azazel smiled at her with his little strength, and he stopped holding her hand. No. Azazel was crying. Issei, I love you, said each woman with many wounds. I am. Everyone was being surrounded by the Org army. Tell us where the Power Ranger is and his death will be swift, said an Org. Nobody said anything. If this is how things are going to be, so be it. Damn idiots. As it began, the first death was directed at a couple who were there. The Org ran the man through with his sword. No. The woman screamed, seeing her husband already dead. Why are you crying? You will soon be reunited with him, burying the sword in her breast. The Org approaches and hears him muttering something. I'm sorry, son, he said as he closed his eyes. Oh, how touching. People started to get upset by such a scene. That's what they run. Soon my soldiers will come for you. Elsewhere, Rias-sama on his left. She turned around and was hit by a soldier. Rias, part of her entourage, screamed seeing how she was sent flying because of that blow. Her entourage goes to her aid and helps her get back up. Rias gets angry, but then her vision turns red, watching blood drip from his forehead. Asia, seeing that, cures her and says it's okay, Rias-sama. Thanks, Asia. At that moment, the group finds themselves surrounded by the enemy, along with the citrus. Everyone gets together, back to back. Kiba, 2, give me a sword. That's why I'm alone. Thanks, Kiba, taking the sword. Ready. 2. The army about to attack were intercepted by several energy attacks. The team, seeing their enemies fall, looked for who had done it. They were surprised to see a man from the mountains with a gun. Rias and the others saw it and were happy. The guy turned around and left the place. As he walked, he threw something back. The group, seeing what had fallen, was an artifact. It opened and revealed some weapons. The group took some and understood that he had given them to help them finish off some armies. As soon as they took them, they left the place. Thanks, Issei, said Rias, leaving with her group and her friends. On the other side of the world. So we can't use his sword, several figures said. Unfortunately not. We fixed it and everything. But his power is needed to pilot his Zord. Without the Green Ranger we can't do anything. So we wait until those things enslave us. In that, a noise coming from the ground floor where the Zord was began to sound. What's that? All the leader figures got off and saw a green-clad man boarding the Zord. Everyone rejoiced and shouted, "Go get them, Green Ranger!" The pilot looked out and made a gesture. At that moment the Megazord took the form of a helicopter and left the facility. The leaders and several people there shouted, "Go get them!" In the dark, activate rescue sequence. Allah Orden Green Ranger Desia El Zord. Good. At that, Tommy got out of the Zord and left, leaving the Zord on autopilot. Elsewhere, we are ready, sir. Very good. Let's go after those filthy humans. 2. Underneath the spaceship, there was a stowaway climbing inside while smiling. The strongest ranger. After the ship made its way to Earth, a possible invader appeared from the cockpit, so they activated the alarm and fired. It was too late. Someone had already boarded. Tommy quickly went to the command center. He eliminated several enemies and now he could see everything from there. Tommy saw where the weapon that made orgs grow was located. Tommy said without hesitation, "Go to where the captain is." Before going there, Tommy smiled and went to the propellers. That's it. Now the final part. And Tommy headed to the room where Lord Zed was. "He's coming here, sir," said the Zed commander. "Very good. If I don't get out of this, you'll be the wise captain." "Yes, sir." "Then go. I'll take care of the ranger." "At your command." And he left from there to the land to continue with the plan of conquest. With Tommy, he was sneaking around the place when he suddenly dodged a blast of energy that was headed straight for him. Tommy turned around and there was Lord Zed with a sword in his hand. "Hello, Ranger. I see you're alone." "Ha! You don't need a team to beat you. I'm enough for you." "What stupidity. A simple ranger doing something to me. I remind you that I alone finished off most of your generals, or am I wrong?" That made him angry and go attack Tommy. On Earth. "What's up, humans? That's all." A scorpion woman laughed from a building. Casado suddenly had an energy attack on her and sent her flying. She pulled herself together and looked into the distance, and there was a group of people with cannons in their hands. "Damned inferiors, how dare they attack me!" Shouting in anger. "Wow, these things are incredible. Don't you believe it, Bucho?" "They're right. Thanks to Issei, we can still give hope to this planet. If we couldn't save the rest, we must defend this place at all costs." "Hi, Bucho," shouted her clan and her friends. With Tommy, "Give up," said, "You're finished. It will be of no use to kill me, Ranger. The invasion will not stop with my death." Then, Min 250, Power of the Ancestors, Master Mode. Tommy looked at him through his helmet and said, "This will be the end of you, Zed." Tommy ran and hit Lord Zed's weak spot, landing several blows there. Maximum power, and his sword was covered in red flames. Now, Attack of the Ancestors. Lord Zed trembled with fear as after saying those words, several rangers of different colors appeared behind him. Zed dies. No. And Tommy cut Zed in half with his ultimate technique. Tommy turned around. Zed fell defeated. Instantly it exploded, causing great damage to the ship. Tommy returned to his base state and saw that the ship was going to crash. He opened the front door and jumped out. It was plummeting. Then a sound was heard. Tommy looked and it was the Eagle Zord, inherited from one of the Guardian Rangers from other lines. "Thanks, my friend. Now we go to the battlefield." With the Gremory and Citri group, these were being beaten by General Scorpion. "Ha! I thought they would put up a fight. How pathetic." Placing his foot on Rias's head, which was bleeding from such damage. Then General Zed arrives. Lord Zed fell. Start the invasion. I order this. Daisher's orders, said General Scorpion. You bored me, girl. Kicking Rias in the ribs. Bots. Initiate the invasion. In that. Attack. About to hurt people. Stop. Everyone looks and says, who's there? Get out now. Tommy emerged from the shadows, detransformed. Who are you? Daisher said. I am the Green Power Ranger. Ha ha ha, the orgs laughed. You, and Sirio. Tommy concentrated his power, and managed to split himself. Everyone saw how there were several Tommies. What is Issei going to do? The fallen GY Citri groups said. Now, Dragonzord power, Tigerzord power, Dino Thunder give me the power, access, power of the ancestors. And the last Tommy was still normal. List of Zenaku. Let's go, boy. In that case, Wolf power come to me. In that a light seal of Tommy, wrapping this in power of Zen. On the move. And all the Tommies jumped off to go fight Lord Zed's remaining army. Battle for survival. Incredible. You could say that or even more. The Green Ranger was amazing, he said everything there was to it. At that moment all the Tommies came down from there and stood in front of everyone present. People were just excited with a touch of surprise. All the Tommies stood in front of the people. They looked at each other and nodded. Each one took out his weapon. Now shouted the original Tommy with the Zen armor. He raised his crossbow and shot an arrow at the Org army. When contact was made, a huge explosion occurred that wiped out the superbots. Their copies of Tommy ran away while some Org leaders followed them. Only Tommy and Daisher remained with the Scorpion. I hope you fight, Ranger. Tell your master. He couldn't even beat me. And you come here to tell me that. Who do you think you are? In a mocking tone, he got angry at what was said. How dare you talk like that about our teacher? Said the Scorpion woman. Enough talk, said Daisher. Same here, said Tommy, turning the crossbow into a dagger. At that moment, Daisher and the woman attacked Tommy, delivering a combined blow. They knocked him backward. This one was recomposed. In that case, Descent Blade Rising Wave, Tommy announces, sending a blast of energy at both enemies, sending them flying a great distance away. He looked back and there were still people. Some of them were too injured to move. Then, fierce storm. At that moment, a helicopter is heard from the distance of the city. This lands and SD opens the rear cockpit. Come in now, said Tommy. Those who can move well, help the wounded. Just as he ordered, people quickly entered and thanked the Ranger for everything. This one with his back turned said that you shouldn't go up. Watching the Gremory and Citri group. We will stay and help, each one standing said. In your current state, look in a mirror. You won't last a minute against them. Get in the Zord and leave before I regret helping you. Issei said each Gremory. Thanks for everything, said the men. Kiba just looked at him and nodded. Getting into the Zord, he returned the gesture. Everyone came in except Rias. Whereas, I said leave, what part don't you understand? If something happens I want you to know that you are. We'll talk later. Alright, just don't die please. You have a reason to live. Jump, said Issei, making the Zord take them away. Tommy sees an upset Daisher. And your partner? He laughed and said, she was too weak to fight. I saved her the shame and exterminated her. Well, I'm not entirely interested in their lives, he said as he ran towards him. I won't lose this battle anyway. Ha 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 ha, what a good joke, Ranger. You know we dominated other worlds and destroyed the Rangers. It's a lie, said Tommy. You think? Yes, because they still live and part of their powers live in me. So you will never win. Giving him a cut in the chest, Tommy gathered a ball of energy in his hands and threw it at it. He flew out with many wounds all over his body. Tommy looks and there are his other selves. I see you got lucky, they nod and walk over to Tommy. The six surround Daisher. He sees he's surrounded and tries to call for help. But no bot or org general is still standing. I told you, justice will always prevail over evil. The six gathered power in their hands. Now, shouted the original Tommy. All his energy was given to Daisher, ending his life. We won. At that the Tommies disappeared and their energies joined the original. He breathes very heavily and throws himself to the ground. You did it, boy. You won, said the Guardian and Zenaku happily. No gain. We won. They smile and watch the sunset. The end of an era? Part 1. Tommy fell to the ground. Wow, we won, he said happily. You did well, boy. Zen and Guardian congratulated. No, we did it, not just me. These smile. In that you can hear how the people who are hiding are coming out of the buildings and going to where the Green Ranger had fought. Everyone sees this guy lying on the ground. He did it, they all said, celebrating. The Green Ranger is the best. Tommy stood up and saw all the people cheering him. Tommy, with little strength, managed to raise his hand in a sign of victory. They didn't know how to thank me. Tommy smiled and said, it is my duty now, I must go. A fierce storm Lamo evening. Just then you hear the Zord landing nearby. Tommy saw everyone getting off. He saw the wounded and quickly started helping them get off so they could get help quickly. While Tommy was helping people, the Gremory group and Citri were also helping. But more than that, they noticed something. They were staring at Tommy. They looked closely and saw that he had wounds all over his body. They saw some blood drip from his back. Tommy felt some internal bleeding from inside him. He tried to act strong and ignore it and continue helping people. At that moment he felt everything around him go cloudy. He was about to collapse from exhaustion and his many wounds. Before falling backwards, he was caught by Rias in her arms. "This one looks and is being held by Rias." "Thanks," said Tommy from inside the helmet. "Don't worry, you helped us. It's only fair to return the favor." "Asia, I call you Rias." Rias placed Issei on the ground. He sat down and began to complain about his injuries. Asia understood and cautiously approached Tommy. She surrounded her hands with his body. Quickly a green light invaded her body. Tommy healed quickly and got up. "Thank you," said this one, walking. Asia was surprised because he thanked her. She smiled and thought, "It sounds like Issei-san," with small tears. Tommy came out of there. He went on his way. Rias wanted to call him but saw that he had other priorities. A little while later, Tommy left everyone there safe. People were grateful. Tommy looked around. He saw the destroyed city and said to himself, "Whenever we fall and see that everything is lost, despite everything there will always be a glimmer of hope. We just have to believe in ourselves. As humans, we have to lift our heads and move forward." He saw the Gremory and Citri group there watching him. He turned around and jumped into the sky. In doing so, he climbed into the Zord's cockpit and left the place. People applauded his actions. Others wanted to talk to him, but now was not the time. There are still things to do. Several days later, what remained of the factions united. Michael traveled to the human world and found several injured angels. Luckily, they had someone to heal them. Penemu began to reorganize its ranks. The remaining demons went to their world and saw everything destroyed. Luckily, the remaining clans managed to restore a part of their world. The dragons entered the dimensional gap. What happened there was that they saw Ophis and Great Red so badly injured that they could die. The Asgardians could see how their world was annihilated. Odin cried. Many of his warriors died protecting it. These days after that, the Alliance, well, what was left of it, reunited and gave burial to those who died in combat. Those days were very ugly for everyone, especially for the demons, fallen, angels, dragons and Asgardians. Fin POV. Ova, Guardian. After the entire supernatural world has realized the threat and launched multiple deadly attacks against it. Not only did they take everything from him, but they also wanted to take his life. At that moment when the Maus, angels, fallen, Asgardians and clans had given him their best attacks, something or rather fate wanted Issei not to die that night. "Let's get out of here. We've finished with this threat," said the Mao Lucifer with hatred, and so each one left. Rias was somewhat emotionally disturbed. The one who was supposedly the love of her life had betrayed them. She could only feel great hatred towards him. "I curse you, Hyoudou," Issei were his words to leave that place. Fin POV. 6 months later. The sun was rising in what seemed like a room. "Where I am. Hey, because I can't move my legs." This one started screaming. "Doctor, the patient has woken up and is in shock. Give him a sedative." "At your service." The nurse came in with several other nurses to grab him and inject him with the sedative. Hours later. "I see you're already awake." "Where am I?" This one checks his legs. "Wait before you do something. You're in the hospital." "Wow, you were in a coma for 6 months. What the?" Alarmed. "They found you in the middle of the city with multiple wounds, including several stab wounds in your sides and very severe burns. They said you wouldn't survive, but your heart was like that of a bull. Since you know this, we want to know what happened to you first of all. What is your name? How old are you? Where do you come from and how did you end up like this?" said the doctor. After saying that, a wave of memories invaded that boy who thought he was dead. This relived every moment. He started to cry. The doctor left him alone for a while. "Why did this happen to me? What did I do to deserve this?" Because you laugh more than anyone. Because you did this to me. I thought. Sniff, sniff. 1 year and 10 months later. "You can do it. Just one more step, Mr. Oliver." "Can't." "You can do it. No one says I can't. But rather, I must do it. So take it one step further." "Thank you, Oba-san." "That's it, kid. You can do it," was the support of an elderly woman helping with therapy so Tommy Oliver could walk again. A month later. "I don't know how to thank you for this." "Don't worry. Despite everything, you've been by my side since my rehabilitation. And despite not being related by blood, you're more like my mother. I was never able to conceive, and my husband left me. I was always alone, until you came to my side. That's why I'll always be grateful that you came to me." Thanks for everything, Mom, Tommy said as he left for the university. We'll be leaving for the United States soon. That's where I'll be studying for my PhD. So get ready, because this kid's about to graduate. That's my son. But go soon before you're late. See you, Oka-san. Finn POV. We have located the new guardian Zordon. Okay, it's time to prepare the last morpher for him. Soon evil will invade this world. A protector is needed. Unfortunately, my power will only be enough for one ranger. I trust that he will be safe as long as I have you. Or am I wrong? Seeing two beings in front of him. The end of an era? Point 2. Goodbye Qua. A cycle closes. A happy ending. A ranger retires. We begin. A few days had passed since the peak of the last battle between the Green Ranger and the army of the Evil Org. During those days, everyone began to support cities in construction, and with that help, everyone became stronger from each other. From that moment on, the remaining forces in the supernatural world rose up. Drake was found by Tan and far from Qua. He was badly injured and could have almost died, but he was a dragon, and he would still fight even if his life depended on it. After many supernatural beings were still standing, they reorganized and began to help him with others. The DXD team took the survivors to their world. When they arrived, it was ash of their world. Some who were skilled in magic began to repair their world. It might take a few weeks or months, but the real loss was their loved ones. Before they had even begun to rebuild their world, they carried the lifeless bodies of their families to a proper burial. At the highest peak were the Mafia, those who gave their lives to buy time so everyone could be saved. Odin, along with the rest of his people, settled on an island not far from society. It was named the New Asgard. Maybe it wasn't much, but it was the start of something new, and with everyone's help, they began building their new town. Grigory. Some of the fallen began to bury their comrades. Penemu began to take charge of all of them, and that was because she knew a lot, and because everyone saw her as a natural leader whom they would follow without hesitation. The sky wasn't the same, and that was because they were the most affected than the other allies. The number of angels was very small, and everything was destroyed. It would take a very long time for them to return to their investigations. Michael mourned the loss of his sister, but it was still too early for grief, and he couldn't afford to grieve. There were still those who depended on him. Finn POV. After a few days. In total, a month had already passed since the fight. Tommy was resting at home. He got up and started getting dressed, and then went out. He started walking through the streets of Kwa, and saw how the place was already in better condition. He continued on his way until he reached his place where he worked. Days later, Tommy was arriving at the airport. So it's true that you're leaving. Tommy turns back. I requested my transfer back to the United States. I'm done here, and now I'm heading home. There will be no way to make you stay. I'm sorry, Rias, but this place isn't my home anymore. I don't belong here anymore. That stopped being true years ago. You're right, he said sadly. I heard about your family. I'm sorry. Don't worry. His sacrifice made the lives of many more people worthwhile. Attention please. Flights to the United States will soon take off. Please, begin boarding. I think it's time for me to go. Tommy looks at Rias. I have to go now. She tries to say with a lump in her throat. Could you at least give me a hug? Tommy comes over and hugs her. Rias, feeling that hug, began to cling to him and began to cry. A minute of silence passed, until they separated. Goodbye, Rias. I wish things had been different for all of us. But everything happened for a reason. Rias watched Tommy board the plane. You're right, I see. Things could have turned out differently for us. Mom heard a child's cry approaching her. Rias wipes her tears and hugs the child. And Dad, you said Mom would meet him today. Dad had to go. Remember, he's the Green Ranger, and he's supposed to protect the world. That's why he had to go. But he said he loves you very much, and is sorry he's not here. But when will I meet him? Said a little brown-haired boy with red locks and green eyes. Ready. We'd better go get some ice cream. Go with your cousin Millicass. The child walks away. Are you sure of what you did? Grafia said. Yes. Issei deserves better. And what will your son say? I'll think about that later. There's still time, and both of you are leaving. 2 years later. Looking for new rangers for the future, said a computer. Are you sure about this, dear? Said a brunette woman with a small bulging belly. Don't worry, Nadira. It's okay that I'm leaving. Besides, I want to spend time with you and my baby. While stroking her tummy. We leave and they both hold hands. By the way, my mom will come to meet her grandson once he's born. Tommy tenses up. Hopefully, he doesn't want to destroy the Earth. Quest completed. 6 new Guardian Rangers. Tommy Red Ranger, Troy Blue Ranger, Lena Yellow Ranger, Jason Green Ranger, Jiden Black Ranger, Golden Ranger. Years later. Dad, what's up, Tommy? Mom says hurry up with the firewood. And, my name is Basara Gremory. Tommy is surprised to hear that last name. You are Hyoudou Issei. What do you want? If it's you at that, he approaches him and hugs him. Tommy remains normal and receives the hug, feeling a pang in his chest that made him feel a feeling of happiness. When separating, you have something to do with the Gremorys. And because you sought me out, I wanted to meet my father. Tommy is in shock. What? And Ed drops the firewood. The end of an era? The end. What he said, Tommy in shock. Years ago I longed for this moment, dreaming of all the ways I could meet you, but this surpasses everything else. They both break away from the hug and Tommy sees it in detail, realizing that there were features of himself, captured in that brown-haired boy with locks as red as blood itself. If you claim to be my son, why until now? Basara looks at it, and realizes that no one told him about its existence. We can talk somewhere else, said Basara. Yes. At that moment Basara took Tommy by the shoulder, and they disappeared. Mountainous place. You knew I always hated you, said Basara to Tommy. Tommy didn't say anything. Every birthday, I asked Mom when I'd meet you, but when I brought it up she'd get sad. But she always said you had a job, that someone like you should save the world. As the years went by I realized that you had abandoned us. I spent a decade hating myself for having left my mother. Even though she always said something bad about you, Mom always defended you. I didn't understand why she was defending you, so I spent a while feeling angry at both of them. One morning, Mom was sick, and the others and I tried to cure her, but it was in vain. That illness was very rare for demons, and their fate, which came with appearing like it, was death. Tommy is shocked to learn that from Rias. In her last days she called me. I went and she talked about you. I wanted to refuse to hear about you, but when she started telling me how you betrayed the entire alliance, I wanted to not believe her. When I confronted Aunt Grafia, she confirmed that what Mom said was true. This was the case with every person I spoke to. Nobody told lies. When I asked the last person, just mentioning your name made him sad. Uncle Drake regrets many things in his life, but there's one thing that makes him hate himself. He regrets what he did to you. Tommy didn't say anything. Winter finally arrived and Mom told me a lot about you and what you did to make her fall in love with you. I always heard a song. She told me that you dedicated it to her when she was sad or if something made her feel bad. Just hearing it made her murmur your name. Her last day alive. She only heard you, and her last words were that she would one day join you in the afterlife. At that moment Tommy cried. When he found out what song it was, he was filled with memories of him and her together. Her first kiss, when she pampered him, when everyone slept with him and fought to be by his side. The memories he made with everyone, their first time together, when they were a nice family, all that came to mind. Mom, I always love you. When everyone told me about you, they said you were someone with a pure heart. Mom said she never talked about me because if she did, she would have tied you down to something you didn't want. Tommy approached him and hugged him. Even if I had told you about your existence, I would have stayed and tried to work it out with your mom. Everything a father does for his son, I would have done it without hesitation. Basara cries and hugs him. Elsewhere, Tommy Jr. and his team were fighting in Org and they were losing. We need help, Tommy. Damn, he said on the ground. That's what you hear. Golden power. Time for morphosis. Who are they? I have no idea. I hope you keep up with me, kid, said the Green Ranger. Have you not seen what I am made of? I know you have my blood. I just want to see how strong you are. Thank you, Dad. Join us or you'll be left hanging, said the Gold Ranger. They stand up and say, let's fight. Morphosis. Tommy Jr. and Basara are in front and say, this moment feels familiar. Tommy Jr. said, let's fight, said the Org. You don't direct, Basara. At your service. And the 6 of them run towards the Org, wielding their swords. And
let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.